Chair of Community Board 2 SLA Licensing Committee. Welcome to our November meeting. Other members of the committee are Carter Booth, Bobby Lee, Erica Olson, Dr. Shirley Smith, and Katie Bordenaro. So I've gone through the please sign up if you want to speak. The sign up sheets are up here. When I call on the applicant, please come up to the microphone, present your application, and state your name first, and then present the application. We'll go to the committee for any questions, and which you can follow up with, and then we will go to the public for comment. So anybody from the public will call your names with the speaker cards. If you haven't filled out a speaker card and you want to speak, come up to speak, state your name and fill out the speaker card afterwards. We'll be doing a back and forth between the applicants and the public. Everybody is addressing the committee. And I'm asking that everybody be polite to each other. If there are a number of you here on one application and someone has said what you were going to say, just say that you agree with them, state your name. I want to hear from everybody, but I don't want there to be a lot of repetition. After we've heard from the public, we will go back to the applicant to respond to anything they have heard. And everybody, please try to remember to use the microphones, okay? They're printouts of the agenda. We will be taking things out of order. And we had two additional layovers today. One was Ave 7th Avenue LLC doing business as All'Antico Vinaio at 89 7th Avenue. And then Officina, let's see. And that is, I keep losing that one. Yeah, here it is, 92 7th Avenue South. So that one laid over as well. Okay, so the first application we are going to hear is going to be Zimmy's NYC LLC at 72 Bedford. If you could come up. I think. You can take this. Okay, so you were here last month. That's not. That's better. Yep.
Hi, everybody. Colton with Helding representing Zimmy's NYC LLC. I have the operator Jenny here with me. If you guys remember, we were here last month. I'm happy to walk you through the concept and details again. Otherwise, our homework was to meet with Bedford Commerce Block Association and get additional signatures specifically from 81 Bedford. So that meeting didn't happen. I can let Jenny kind of speak to how the meeting went. There is a letter of support from the president of the Block Association, Kathy Donaldson, and we can get additional signatures from 81 Bedford.
Hi, nice to see you all again. So we were fortunate to be able to meet with a number of members of the, sorry, could you hear me? Sorry about that. So yes, we were able to meet with members of the Block Association, myself, my partner, Johnny Delafave, and Mark Shammy. We had a good conversation. They addressed their concerns, which were similar to the ones that were addressed here at the last meeting. I think we came to a place of understanding, and I personally met with Catherine Donaldson, who's the president of the Block Association, in person a week or two after that meeting, and we continued the conversation, and she wrote a letter of support on behalf of the Block Association.
Us,
I believe so, yes.
I believe so.
did you get a copy of the letter?
Yes, and it's attached in the packet.
Okay,
I can give you one.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Was it emailed in too? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it.
And then in addition, we had, we were missing some signatures from an important building in the neighborhood, which was 81 Bedford. And we focused on meeting as many tenants of that building as possible. And we were able to get a number of signatures from them as well, which you now have as well, I believe.
Okay, anybody from the committee have any questions? From the public, Nancy?
Hi.
Hi, thank you, Donna. My name is Nancy Paisley. I'm a member of the BBC Block Association. I was not able to get to that meeting, but I've talked to the folks who were there who could not be at this meeting. And I'm very happy to confirm that the Block Association supports this application with a midnight close and nothing on the sidewalk. And I wish I could say more frequently that I support an application.
Thank you. So just to do a quick run through, so the hours are 11 a.m. to 12 a.m.
Correct.
7 days. It's background music only, no TVs, no outside, no operable doors and windows. We'll keep the door closed at all times. I think that's about it, correct? Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for laying it over and meeting with everybody.
Of course, of course.
So put on the desk.
On the desk, the one that's supposed to be there. Okay. Next application is going to be, oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Let me just, so there are a few applications that we waived appearance on. I'm just gonna zip through those. One is 142 Carriage House LLC at 142 West 10th Street. This is an on-premise for a restaurant. We heard them originally in November of 2021 as an OP for a restaurant. They re-notified us with a restaurant wine in July 2022 because it was taking them so long at the liquor authority for the process to go through. We did not hear them then because we figured that the signed stipulations would be accepted at the liquor authority. They were not, so their license was held up. So last month, they re-signed the same stipulations as a restaurant wine application, and they have received the restaurant wine license. And so now they have put in the 30-day notice for the on-premise. The Block Association is in support of them. This is the same exact application as we heard in November 2021. They have signed the same stipulation agreement again, and so we have waived their appearance. West 14th Tavern Corp., formerly known as entity to be formed by John Cotillo, 234 West 14th Street, was an OP for a tavern. This was re-notified to us a 30-day notice because there was a clerical error. They failed to check off security on the original notice. They told us they would have security. They re-signed the stipulations because of the change in the licensee name from entity to be formed to West 14th Tavern Corp. Otherwise, there was no other change, so that appearance has been waived and we have the signed stipulations. Take Me to the River 22 LLC, doing business as next door 22 Greenwich Avenue. That's a tavern wine, and that was a re-notification to include a temporary retail permit. We heard this in August 2022 and recommended approval with the signed stipulations. So their appearance is waived. There's been no change. And then the last one is Compass Group with parent company Restaurant Associates. That's at 550 Washington Street. Floors 1 to 4, 6, 9, and 12. This was re-notification just to amend the applicant name. They have re-signed the same stipulations with the new with the parent company name, and their appearance is waived. So that's that. Okay. So the next application we are going to hear is Chrome Flats. That's at 366 West 12th Street. We heard this last month and they are returning.
Good evening, Martin Miller of Miller Buscemi. I'm the attorney for the applicant. We were here last month. Briefly, we're a restaurant that will have a total of 56 seats inside, 46 of which will be at tables, 10 will be at a bar. There'll be an outdoor component only on the sidewalk. It will have 4 tables and 10 chairs. The chef of the premises, the manager of the premises will be Jean-Joseph Bergeron, a very renowned chef. His menu is on the handout, and we were told, we asked, and we went out and reached out to the people in the area. The owner of the establishment personally went out well, it was done through Zoom, but met. And if you have any questions of him and what happened at the meeting, he will explain what was stated and what was resolved. Mario?
Hi, pleasure. Mario Reckman. I'm the operating officer of Chrome Flats. As we understood, I was not at the last meeting, but Martin explained to us that there was some follow-up questions that they wanted to speak directly to the operator with. So we reached out. I'm based in Los Angeles, so we had a Zoom meeting. We invited as many interested parties as there were. We had about 6 different individuals that joined the Zoom meeting, and we talked through the project, explained kind of what Martin just laid out, and answered several questions about some concerns that were raised in regards to the operation of the business, which we answered. Happy to go through any specific concerns that were raised. But I think we definitely, I think the meeting lasted about an hour and a half, where we gave everyone an opportunity to ask any questions they had and explains any concerns about the operation, which again is a very basic standard restaurant, fairly limited seating, and walk through the expectations of how that would work.
Okay, so the hours are?
The hours are 2 a.m. on the weekends and 1
And 1 a.m.
Yep.
Okay, so
It opens at 11.
last month when you were here, you agreed to 12 a.m. and then 1 a.m. Friday and Saturday.
Yes, but he's here now, and he's again making a plea if he could have the later hours. But
Yeah, we have to use the
No.
microphones.
I'm sorry. Yes, that's true. But the owner has again asked if the later hours can be used. This is not a very large restaurant, and he's just afraid that people will not be able to finish on time, and that's why he's going to.
Okay, and then the music is background only. There's no live music, no DJs, no anything
Correct.
at any
Nothing
time.
at any time.
Okay. Then I believe we had a conversation about where is the entry? Is the entry on 12th or is the entry on Washington?
Yeah.
I guess it's the
So
corner.
we explained during the meeting, that was one of the items that came up during the Zoom meeting. And our intent as part of a historical component of bringing the building back to its original, during the historical research of the building, the door, one of the doors to that building was on the 12th Street side. So that was the intent, was to bring back that door. Originally, I have some historical pictures that we showed on some meeting. I'm happy to share those with you today as well. Would you like? Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks. Would show that there was in fact originally back in the 1930s a door on the 12th Street side, and that was the intent as part of the landmarks process, which we haven't gone through yet. So we would like to still be able to have the entrance on the 12th Street side. And to clarify, it's really at the corner of 12th Street. It's not really inside, 12th Street. So it's basically where the door is today, just on the opposite side on the 12th Street side. And when you look at the historical pictures, it'll make more sense.
I can't.
So that sounds like an interesting project. What other work are you doing to bring the building back to its historical condition?
That's correct. Yeah.
What else?
On the outside, we have to repair it used to be brought back. There was some repairs that were done about 10 years ago that we're looking to rebuild in it's called a landmark friendly manner. So really outside facade, the door and some of the windows, again, they're all, as you know, they're all that would have to be in the landmarks. The intent is to bring it back to its original land conditions.
And then just, is there any other work happening in the building on the upper floors? Who's paying for that work?
We'll be paying for that work, throughout the building. And interiors, we just, it's a fairly outdated building, so we just need to do quite a bit of work inside, including the restaurant. It's the same footprint, so that will be, and it's really just interior modeling, electrical, and some structural elements.
So I'm just, what year is this one from? That's right. I have to keep checking mine. Because that one clearly has the door in, not on 12th Street. Right, but I think this was the conversation we had last time. I'm just because you weren't here, was that there was always a door that was used on 12th Street, but it was more used for not the primary entrance into the space. It was more used for the wait staff coming in and out and that sort of thing.
I would just, before we go on with that too, can you just show us where the awnings were for the main entrance? Because I don't see any awnings on the pictures. Well, yeah, right, isn't that the main entrance of the building?
Yeah, we're not arguing that this was not an entrance, there was an entrance on the 12th side.
Yeah.
We're saying that there were two entrances, one on the 12th Street side, and then on the Washington side, as you see over here. So our goal is to bring back the other original entrance over there. It's still a service entrance. There was then. That's a separate entrance. So if you look, this entrance is actually at the corner. So if you can, you don't have any, if you bring it closer, yeah, right there, it was frozen. So this area was right here for them. So that's what we want to bring back.
There's still no awning.
There wouldn't be an awning.
That's not the main entrance.
Correct, which is going to do. No, it's a full door.
Well, hang on one second, just. No, we do not do this way. Just, we're talking about the side doors that aren't there, are there?
Donna, can I ask a
Go ahead,
question?
Katie.
So I see three doors. I see a door to the commercial establishment, the historic door. I see a door right next to it on 12th Street. I see a third door. So does that third door still exist, the most easternmost one?
Yes.
And if that one leads to the upstairs?
Yes, that entrance is to the upstairs, so that's not part of the restaurant.
So that's just for people that aren't looking at the diagram, that third door is. The third door is the easternmost door on 12th
It's the
Street.
easternmost door and that leads to the apartments upstairs, which is not part of the
No.
application.
And so the door, you're talk,
Please. Yeah, you need to fill out one.
Fill out.
Card.
fill out a
No,
speaker
you
card.
need to fill out a new one. There you go. That's right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Then the door that is sort of on the corner, but on 12th Street, just a little bit back to the east of Washington, that's the door you want to use.
Correct, that's a door.
All right, and then what are you going to do with the door that is on Washington?
So there will still be a door there, so we're just going to be able to have the double doors between one in the corner, one on each corner of that entrance, just like the original that we had.
Okay, and how are you going to use the door on Washington Street? Is that going to be a second entrance?
Or they lead into the same exact corridor, so, but we're just.
It's coming drop, that, I guess where is the hostess stand? Where are cars dropping people off? Where is your posted address? Is it going to be Washington Street or is it going to be 12th Street? Because my concern is where the cars are going.
Correct. So the hose will be in size, and because it's over the corner, on that size, as far as the expectation that people are walking from the 12th Street side. What cars will drop off and then drop off on the other side, depending on where the car is navigating to, but. If someone's going to drop off immediately in front of the entrance, it will be on the 12th Street side at the corner right by Washington.
Okay. Go ahead, Carter.
In just looking at the photographs, it looks like there's a step there, so it doesn't look like it'll be ADA accessible. If you put that in, and as part of this, does that mean that you're gonna be putting in a long ramp along that side?
We on the step on the Washington side, is that the step you're referring to?
No, I'm talking about the old door, obviously as a step, you can see the children are sitting on it.
West, there's a step on, I currently, as it stands, there's a step on the Washington side. There was no step, obviously, on the 12th Street side, so that doors normally there, that was going to rehabilitate. That this hasn't been finally settled from a building standpoint, but it would have a flat entrance that would either slope inside the space, or we would want to kind of bring down the floor inside to actually have more flush with the outside. That's the intent.
And are you gonna put back in the other door and the other window?
Can I?
There's two doors here. And one window. That would be the full historical facade, right?
This door there right now.
I don't think it
No,
is.
this-
It's not. It's right under here. That's gone also. So to bring it back, you'd need 3 doors and 1 window. 1, 2, 3 doors, and this is a window.
Yeah, this currently is a door. It's a double door, but he's.
But it was a window.
It was a window.
No, we're not looking to bring that window back.
So you're not really reconstructing the historical facade. You're just doing one element. Okay.
So how many doors are gonna?
How many doors are there going to be on West 12?
On West 12, there will be 2 doors.
One that's now in the middle that's there, and then the one that's closer, you're restoring the one that's
Correct.
closer to the sidewalk.
Correct.
So what's happening with the door that's then sort of in the middle that exists now?
That door would remain, that would be the outside sitting area. So it would be the access to the outside.
For your wait staff?
Correct.
So then are you putting a vestibule on the inside? I believe Tortilla Flats used to have sort of like a vestibule on the inside that would buffer the noise from the inside when the door opens and closes.
I'm not familiar with how the Tortilla Flats used to have it.
A vestibule on the inside so that when, I don't know if it was a curtain vestibule or what, but they had a vestibule on the inside so that it buffered the inside from
Yeah,
the.
in terms of to have a proper door that would close.
Right, but you're essentially what you're doing, it sounds like, is you're opening it up, so it's a double entry on that corner. Is how you're doing
I'm sorry, yes, it would be vestibule. I mean, the entrance would be vestibule, 100%, yes,
sealed off from
Yes.
the inside.
that's
of-
correct, yes.
So people will come in and then go through another
correct.
door when
That's
they,
correct.
when they go,
You step into a landing, that's the box in a sense,
it's enclosed,
correct, and then you walk into the actual.
and then you go
That's-
inside.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
So just before we move off that, you're actually not doing a full historical renovation and bringing it back, correct?
Correct. I mean, what we're doing is
Bringing back just the door.
just the door and again, so we have a lot of the brickwork that.
So the brickwork is actually going to hide the old historical features that you can see now.
The brickwork was redone in, we believe, the last 20 or so years, so it's not showing that historical picture. So some of that work will be.
That brickwork in the last 20 or 30 years, the unevenness on the facade actually is the outline of the old doorways.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is what you want to remove, and those are the old outlines of the old doors.
That part we're not touching.
So you're not,
No, it's.
Keeping
It's-
this door and he's gonna put another door. in.
right,
Correct.
but the brickwork is where,
There's brickwork on this side, over here,
okay,
On which side?
right, on the 12th Street
Other side, yeah.
side, further out. So it's not, you can't quite tell, but all of this was redone, the upper upper portion was redone, and that will be rehab.
Okay, and then there is no banquette on the sidewalk. We cleared that up
Oh,
last
yeah, no,
time.
there's no banquet. And if you look at the diagram, the vestibule is there. In the diagram.
Okay.
Yeah,
Was it with,
it's not a banquet, see, it's. This.
yeah, there's a
This-
banquette on the
No,
diagram.
I mean, that was just drawn out, the actual seating has not been sort of fully finalized, but if there's an issue with the banquet, that's not a problem.
Go ahead.
Yes, so
So just the back end on West 12th, so you have the entrance to the residential. Okay, what is going on the other side of that?
So the other side, further east from that door that you're mentioning, that's the kitchen back there.
Okay, are you gonna have more doors leading out to the sidewalk in the kitchen?
Just the one door that you see today.
Well, there's the multiple doors there.
I believe,
There's windows and there's multiple doors. You can't really tell what it is, but. Yeah, come on over.
so right here, we have the trees that's over here, but there's a door right here, that's the actual operating door, that's the door that we will have, obviously we'll replace that. These were original windows that existed, and this will be part of the that will be part of what will be rehab. In there, so.
So the kitchen is gonna be used for what?
Kitchen staff and deliveries,
Okay,
food deliveries,
so are people gonna be served from through that door?
no,
Okay. And the windows, the windows that are gonna be there are gonna be operable or are they not gonna be operable?
they will be operable, they will not.
They will
not.
not
Okay.
be.
Thank you.
Dr. Smith? You have to flick the little switch up.
Hi, I noticed on your
Dr.
certificate,
Smith, you have,
I'm sorry.
your certificate of occupancy, you have two apartments upstairs. Are they occupied?
You'll be.
But they're not occupied at the moment, but they're not part of the restaurant.
Yeah, but it's the same building, is it?
It's the same building, correct.
Okay, so it's not occupied.
They're not occupied now.
You have, okay, so I was gonna ask you if because of your hours, you're gonna be open to 2:00. Had you reached out to them?
That wouldn't be a tenant or anything. like
Okay, thank you.
do you own the building? I'm just,
that. We do not, we have a long-term lease on the building,
okay,
which includes the entire building, but only the restaurant will be the ground level and the basement.
and does it include the building next door?
That's a
The
separate,
one-story building?
the building further east,
Yeah,
that's a separate building, a separate lease altogether. That's also our building. Our
okay,
lease.
because I will say the other thing was originally. I thought I saw something in here about there being use of a roof and everything else, so that's, it was in there original. I know, Martin, we went through this last time, you told me to ignore half the stuff on here and told me to pay attention to the other half, so I'm just trying to figure out which half I'm supposed to pay attention to.
Yes, yeah, so I can, there's no roof as part of the restaurant.
So the only part of the restaurant is what we're talking about now, there's no restaurant next door, there's no roof use, the only outdoor is the sidewalk,
Correct.
okay. Go ahead, Katie.
But when I look on your diagram, I see a door from the kitchen. A sort of south, the south corner, it goes out into a courtyard. We don't have a picture of that courtyard. What is that door and what does it go to?
So it's not a courtyard, that's our other building. So it's a separate building together, so it's just for ease of access between our buildings, a retail store and the restaurant.
That's the retail,
Yes. Because it's not part of the application, but I mean, there's not, I mean, I'm sorry? That's correct.
it's not, so that's currently the store is not here. This does not go to the store now.
Correct.
The store is down here. I mean, this is 12th Street.
Yes.
This is Washington.
Yes.
Your store is down here on Washington.
So this is the one-story rear yard extension in the front corner building.
Okay,
If you look at the kitchen is in this portion.
so the kitchen is in the one-story building.
No, you're.
No, I'm-
Two one-story.
Okay, so it's in the
one-story
first
building,
one-story, the
kitchen-
westernmost one-story building.
Yeah, which is not on that diagram.
Okay.
So the,
Do you have any access to an outside area through any of those buildings? You have doors or windows into the donut behind your building? Because, you know, we don't like it when, and smoke.
Mhm.
The breaks, it causes a lot of trouble with the neighbors. So I'm trying to determine if there is going to be any access to the back. The employees.
No, so the kitchen staff, the wait staff, everyone in this restaurant will be accessing the space through the restaurant. That door that you were pointing out connects into our retail space, indoor space. And it's only for ease of access for the two operations to connect, but the wait staff and the kitchen staff would be operating strictly in the diagram that you're seeing right now.
Okay, everybody from the committee, okay? Okay, I'm gonna go to the public. And we have Cynthia Penny, Zach Weinstein, and Linda Bell Pedowitz. If you all just want to come up, line up and speak, whoever wants to go first.
Hi, Zach Weinstein, 92 Horatio Street. I had one quick question. There's apparently some new information here. I'm going to include that there's going to be a new retail store, Crumhart's retail store adjoining the restaurant
For clarity.
Okay. So as the applicant mentioned, there was a community meeting about 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, I have to say that my impression and memory of that meeting was somewhat different than the applicants. There was an hour and a half. We had a good discussion. We did ask a lot of questions. My sense is that we did not get clear answers to those questions, and I certainly would not say that anything was resolved. One of the things we're unclear about is the relationship between the proposed restaurant and the store. We were thinking of the store down the block, the existing retail store. If there's now an additional or new store immediately adjoining the restaurant, it also brings up the question of how do these two operations work together? Is there cross promotion? To what extent will the retail spaces be used as event spaces catered by the restaurant? Again, it seems we were hoping to get a little more insight into this, and we did not. We asked about the number of events that might be expected in the restaurant, and we didn't get a clear answer to that. And specifically, with the interest in the stipulation on the maximum number of events. We asked about plans for managing traffic. And we were basically told there are no plans for managing traffic because they don't really expect much traffic. All I can say is that the existing retail store, which actually does not have a lot of people attending it at the moment, there's constantly SUVs and black cars parked outside that store, blocking the bike lane. If the entrance is on 12th Street, We're assuming that most of the patrons coming to this restaurant will be coming in cars. They're going to be cars that are parked there. It doesn't need to be managed, but right now, yeah, that's going to happen. We asked about music, and we understand it's background music only. But we asked about stipulations. They would agree to stipulate no dancing, but at that meeting, they would not agree to stipulate to live music and no DJs. And I'm pleased to hear that that may have changed. That would certainly be positive. The other thing we asked about was a stipulation about no subwoofers. And that was something else that at the time at least, they were not willing to agree to. Another very important point at the community meeting, similar to what they said at the first meeting here, the applicant stated that George restaurants would have, quote, full responsibility for the operation. But George restaurants, of course, is not on the license application. They're a hired manager. And what our concern is that, you know, this can change. At some point, the business relationship may, for whatever reason, be severed. Different, you know, there are disagreements or different visions for what should happen. And at some point in the future, different management could come in, and all of a sudden, we don't know who's responsible for the operation. Next thing. On several occasions in the past, Chrome Hearts at the retail store, which is immediately down the block from the from Tortilla Flats, has thrown large celebrity parties that were catered by Jean-Georges, and with no celebrity DJs. And just one quote from a Vogue article about a Vogue article about one of those parties, quote, inside what some return guests refer to as the quote Chrome Hearts clubhouse, quote, fun was certainly had by all. The expansive private space is wholly owned by the widely loved Los Angeles-based brand, meaning just about anything goes, far away from the prying eyes and selfie seekers. Obviously, I don't think that's necessarily what's going to be happening in this restaurant, which is a much smaller space. But again, this gets back to the relationship between the restaurants and the retail stores. And if you have a restaurant fully managed by Jean-Georges, immediately next to retail spaces, which are frequently used for parties catered by Jean-Georges, at one point, will this application lead to a greater frequency of parties, and what kind of issues can happen as a result of that? Finally, the closing hours, 2 a.m. Friday and Saturday, Sunday through Thursday, was really late and frankly kind of unacceptable. So, you know, given the fact that the owners of this place of Chrome Hearts basically have a rock and roll background, given the residential nature of this location, and given the uncertainties about how the restaurant would actually operate, we'd suggest the following stipulations. A stipulation that a new license hearing would be triggered if Jean-Georges Restaurant ceases to be the manager. Next is a little trickier. A stipulation of some sort that would limit any association of the restaurant with the use of Chrome Hearts retail stores as a web space. Whether that could work legally, I don't know. Obviously, this application is not for this retail spaces, it's for this restaurant, but I'd like to put that on the table. There should be a stipulation regarding the number of private events. I don't know what that number should be. That just needs to be worked out. They've agreed to a stipulation prohibiting music. They've agreed apparently to a stipulation prohibiting DJs. There should be a stipulation prohibiting subwoofers. Closing times, we would suggest 11 p.m. Sunday to Thursday, midnight Friday and Saturday, as one in keeping with the nature of the restaurant of the area and the operating hours of other establishments in the area. And finally, it would be really good to have some kind of stipulation about traffic management. I'm not sure again how that would work, but it does have to be addressed in some form. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Cynthia?
Hi. I'm Cynthia Penny, and I'm
You
secretary.
got to
of the
keep it
Jane-
up to your,
I'm secretary of the Jane Street Block Association, and 12th Street is in our purview. I'm speaking this evening about the closing hours, which are of great concern to our small, low-rise residential family community. We are south of the meatpacking district. We are not the meatpacking district. Now, I've got just a couple of points to make regarding the hours. I'm looking at the floor plan and I'm looking at banquettes. I'm looking at a long bar with 10 seats. I'm looking at low seating, which is not conducive to a Michelin-starred dining experience. I'm wanting you all on my part, on my behalf, to look at how much actual seating there is, classic restaurant seating. Because I don't see more than 20, I see two traditional two tops. And then these long horseshoe banquettes, which are faced into the room, like the CNBC seating. So what are the other 45 patrons? You know, is it a drink and mingle thing? It doesn't have the look, the layout that I was expecting. I was also on that call and was surprised the attorney wasn't there. I was surprised not to see all the things we usually get in a presentation. Who's the chef de cuisine? Who's the manager? Could we see the cocktail and the dining menus? Can we get a good look at what this operation is? And the Jean-Georges Restaurant Group has over 40 locations worldwide, 12 in New York alone. So I'm thinking, you know, they should be prepared and they should understand that this is de rigueur. Now, point two, again to the hours, there is this synergy with Chrome Hearts. That flagship is a 16,000 square foot building on the same block. You will notice that Chrome is in the name of the restaurant. You will notice that the Chrome Hearts brand is on the floor plans. So there's a lot of synergy here. I will add that Jean-Georges and the Stark family are very close family friends, and that Jean-Georges personally caters a lot of these events. That's fine. But it says to me, this is not going to be your standard Jean-Georges Michelin star dining model like Perry Street. I think this is a new breed, a hybrid co-brand, and it's an unknown quantity. It's not coming across the way restaurants do here in the village. You know, people are prepared and know what our expectations are, and they don't ask for 2 a.m. closings. I mean, they just know that's not going to fly. So I will close by thanking you for your time. You're all volunteers and you do a wonderful job. And my motto basically is hope for the best and prepare for the Beatrice Inn. Thank you.
And just Cynthia, what hours would be okay with you?
Zach,
And you are speaking for the Jane Street Block Association.
I'm on this, yes, but we have wonderful synergy with Gangs of War.
Yeah.
We work together so
No, I
that
know.
you don't get very vociferous people with different asks. Well, I'd be curious, what are the Perry Street hours?
You're talking to us.
What are the Perry Street hours, and would that be a good benchmark, but definitely not 2 a.m. If it 1 a.m. in the weekends at 12. Otherwise, because I mean, here's my big concern, that this is going to turn into some sort of celebrity green room for Chrome Hearts events or some sort of VIP dining room, at which case you really do need a stipulation against DJs, red ropes. You want sidewalk security, etc. As Zach said, you know, it's talking about a clubhouse, anything goes, private event, dance parties that go into the wee hours, you know, or a quiet residential neighborhood. So have I've done my thing. Excellent.
Cynthia, can you just help me on where in relation to this location is the retail store?
On the same block. So you've got,
Which block?
it's on the corner of Lush, it's just south of 12th.
South.
So
It's
toward,
on the south end of the block. And
So it's on the corner of Bethune?
it's south on the same side of the street. So we're looking at
No.
40
South.
feet.
Yep, I
It's
see it.
right.
Thank you.
And just to further that, the adjacent on 12th Street, other one-story building goes all the way to the back to hit the store in the rear.
Oh, I see it's a block
So
through
it's a
lot.
whole block through lot.
How's that?
And just, and what, just, in that other, you brought that up because why?
Because when I was looking initially and the application said roof on it, I was just trying to figure out where the roof was coming from and then went to Zola and Acris and everything else and saw the building and saw this and saw that it goes back and around. And
Thanks.
went from there.
Right. And my apologies, I didn't come with the Perry Street hours because I couldn't
No, it's,
find it online.
I
Okay.
have it somewhere. I'll get it.
Okay. So,
Yeah, the website doesn't.
sorry, say again?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Because that's not necessarily.
All right. Well, thank you.
Hi.
I'm worried that I'm gonna make a horrible loud noise when I put it in. All yours.
When I live half a block away, I pass the place every.
Can I just say one thing? State your name first and then you have to use. It has to tilt down, I think. I'm sorry.
I'm very upset. I live half a block away. My name is Linda Bell Pedowitz. My neighbors are concerned. Now I'm even more concerned. The special event space, or what you want as the store, sorry, my back's to you, gentlemen and lady. The main store in operation is on Beverly Street. The space next to what was Tortilla Flats, I believe is still owned by the photographer, he might be leasing. That was used for special events. And the doors to the special events are on 12th Street and Bethune Street. And the parties used to be loud and go on a long time, and there were lots of cars. So if that is the special events and a store, oh God, we're gonna have a problem if it's a regular thing. Also, let me take a breath after that one. Could you confirm there's not going to be anything happening on the roof? Yes, they said there's nothing on the roof. Because we're concerned about noise. Also, about the sliding doors. You've got the door, okay, on 12th Street for what will be a store and sometimes special events. Of course, again, that entrance is on 12th Street and Bethune Street, which is a quiet block. Then you have the next entrance, which is for service, was used by Tortilla Flats for service only. Then you have the entrance that has a little awning on each side and a step. I don't know if it's one or two steps, I believe one, which leads upstairs. And then to the right of that, going closer to Washington Street, you have two sliding doors. They're windows, but they're sliding doors because we used to walk in and out of those doors. Please, let me clarify that. And then the main entrance. Oh, let's see what else. I was concerned about the parties next door.
Next door from Flats, you're
The
speaking.
traffic, of course, you've got construction on the building.
Right.
So we don't have the full space of 12th Street, which is usually a wide street. So I don't know how anyone could stop and drop people off in that space. And around the corner, and Twine has a hut. So there's no space to drop people off there. There's only the space which is currently used by visitors or shoppers to Chrome Hearts, where I've never even gone in. Thank you very much. We're concerned about tables outside on the sidewalk. So we have space to walk by. That's a serious concern because at the other end of the block, you have stuff, Guliani Wine and Cafe, which sometimes we only have 2 feet to pass with tables on each side. And it's hard when we walk a dog and there are dogs on each side. But that's really it. And I wish you all very good luck in your endeavor and your restaurant, but please keep in mind, again, I'm sorry my back is to you, but please keep in mind that we're a quiet block and we like it that way. And we've also suffered lots of construction in recent years. Thank you very much for your time and consideration. And thank you. Take good care of yourselves. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what to address first, but again,
But I think you're gonna have
I
to
know.
put the microphone down at the bottom.
That's all right. Okay. All right, in any event, We are not going to have a roof. We are not going to have any disc jockeys. We are not going to have any live music. It is a restaurant. It is a restaurant that will be overseen by Jean-Georges and his management team. One of his chief managers was here with me last time. He's here again. I believe he was at the Zoom meeting as well to answer whatever questions they may have had. No dancing. I mean, it's a use group 6. We can't dance anyway. So I mean, it's, you know.
So
If we ever did.
you have to turn the microphone up and speak into it. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. If we ever wanted to dance, we would have to come before this board and ask for change in method of operation. We have no intention of doing that. This is going to be another sterling restaurant that is going to be with Jean-Georges at the helm. In terms of him ever leaving, the owner is here. There's a 50-page agreement between Jean-Georges and the owner.
So I'll just would that you be willing to agree to something that says that if Jean-Georges is not the managing, if it's not under Jean-Georges, that you would come back to the community board, since that is what you're making this whole public interest be about, is that Jean-Georges' reputation.
I have no problem with that. And just so you understand, there have been changes at the New York State Liquor Authority in terms of what has to be put on the license, but it is indicated in the application that Jean-Georges is going to be the chef. So yeah, we'll stipulate to that if there's ever change from Jean-Georges, that we come before you and tell you who it is.
Okay, and then the Jean-Georges restaurant on Perry Street, it closes at 11 p.m. That's what is the stipulated, not the posted hours on anybody's website. That's what he stipulated to. So I'm going to go back to the hours here of because this is again a restaurant, not a bar.
I would like to go back to what was stated last month, that we would close at 1 o'clock on weekends and midnight during the week.
If I may, just on the hours, the establishment right next door to us, Wine, their hours are 2 a.m. and 12 and 12, 2 a.m. on the weekends. So that's kind of how this started as from us, as far as sort of determining the hours. And maybe to address some of the earlier comments, which we did talk through during the Zoom meeting, whether it was clear or not, maybe whether it was understood or maybe not accepted, which is fine. But as it relates to the seating arrangement, the seating arrangement that we have in our plan, it is a high-end restaurant. It is meant to be a restaurant. As far as not liking a bench type seating, that's an opinion, and we can respect that opinion. But that's the kind of seating we want, and that's the kind of seating we would expect in a high-end establishment. So, and again, the venue itself, because of its size, doesn't lend itself for any of these other things that were discussed as far as large events, large parties, dancing, or things like that.
I'm sorry, but go back to the tables again. Is that?
There's a comment made about the arrangement of the bench because of the bench seating.
It's all banquet seating for large groups primarily, is what you have here.
And some, I mean, it's not that much of space that we have.
But it's not. I mean, I will say. It's you've got 1, 2, 3 banquets, and then one that's like a banquet with tables. So that's and that can be individual seating, and then one table that's again like a group seating. So I'm just pointing out to you that a lot of restaurants that we see have, it's not that they never have a banquet someplace, but they have a banquet here and there with a lot of tables for 2 and 4 people, and that's not what this is. And I'm just going to go back and just let me get this out. Because the reason people are raising concerns is this is not a typical Jean-Georges restaurant. I mean, Martin, you're trying to say this is a typical Jean-Georges restaurant, but this is not the layout of a typical Jean-Georges restaurant. 2 o'clock in the morning is not what he has asked for in our district before. And because of the association with your store that does have black car, I live nearby too. So, you know, there are black cars lined up there all the time. These are the concerns of people that you're not addressing a traffic plan, and you're not, you know, if it's going to be branded not Jean-Georges, it's going to be branded probably most likely from something. So it's a different, it's not the typical Jean-Georges restaurant. So I'm just trying to figure out how we alleviate these concerns, because with all the banquet seating, it is a small space. It's in a residential neighborhood. It's on pretty narrow street, especially if you're putting that entryway on 12th Street, you're putting all the black cars, because it will be black cars, because you already have that at your store. So how are you going to address these things? I haven't heard anything about a traffic plan. All I keep hearing is it's John George, and this is not typical John George.
I mean, that's just about that. Let's just talk through some of those points. During the meeting, we did talk about, I mean, there isn't a traffic plan in the sense that this is, you know, a 20-page plan of how the team from John George discussed when they have similar situations like that in restaurants, when they have a smaller street space, and if that would happen, the hostess that would be at the restaurant would step out and let them know to not have the cars parked there. But when a Zoom meeting, we got raised that was a concern that's relates to our store, our retail store, which in a way it's obviously linked to our restaurant, but it's not part of the application. Since that meeting, which was the first time I became aware that has become that is a positive.
There's a bike lane there too, so yeah.
That was the first time that was raised to us. We neighborhood in the as well as which is, you know, why we kind of go into this process. And we're insensitive to that. We talk to our team, you have a security and at the door to talk about black cars do come out if they do park there. I know someone to find out what's the frequency of this. And it happens. It's not as frequent as it seems to be right in this meeting, and it's just right over the context. But when it does happen, we do have a good go around and just explain to them that we're walking the bike lane, so to please move on. The same thing, you know, during the restaurant situation.
It is also, they can't just move on in terms of then just moving down the block a little bit and having a black car wait there all night for the people inside. This is a pet peeve of mine. I live in meatpacking. This is happening all the time. So, because this is not meatpacking, this is a residential neighborhood. That can't happen there.
Again, we recognize that. Should team from both companies work through that. We can control whatever, so that's how we rest, but we could step in and control as best as we can.
So then, the other thing was the subwoofers. Would you agree to not have subwoofers?
That got brought up. I'm not a technical person. I believe it's some sort of system.
Subwoofers you don't need the subwoofers to have background music. The subwoofers are what puts the bass all over the place.
Again, I'm not technical enough to know that. Like I have installed systems, you know, at a residential level, and it is some sort of subwoofer system that doesn't. This now becomes a loud thing. So I'd rather not stipulate to that because again, I don't. Please.
Well, the general manager of most of John George's operations.
You just speak into the microphone.
The general manager of most of John George's operations is here today to address the comments about it's not a typical John George place. With respect to the sound, they are going to have a sound attenuation person go over that, so it doesn't go over certain limits. But let him address that. Okay.
Good evening, everyone. We typically have in the restaurants, professional.
Your name.
Jeremy Moustakas, apologies of John George Management. We have a sound expert come in to build the audio systems in all of the restaurants, and they take into great account something I think we all complain about, which are loud restaurants where you can't hear the guest in front of you. So we go to great lengths to address those concerns for the guests that are dining, which has an impact on the total volume of the space. We've worked with vendors such as Criterion and others who are expert in that field. I did want to note one item related to banquettes and open booths. Not every John George restaurant, as we know, has white tablecloths and is fine dining. But at Perry Street, which is of course in the same district, we do have booths that are open into the main dining room. And we do have banquet seating in that space as well.
Have a number of tables and chairs in there, and that's my difference here. It's not the banquets, it's the lack of tables and chairs.
Understood.
And because it's such a small place, I realize you can't fit in everything. But the point I was trying to make is the majority of the seating is in here is for large groups. That means it's a small restaurant, large groups leaving residential street, more noise.
Understood. And I think in other smaller restaurants that we have, such as there's one that's not in the same district, House of the Red at the Tin Building in South Street Seaport. There's a similar, just for reference, similar floor plan where we have more booths because of the particular room
Right.
and fewer tables than we would typicically
But
have.
that's not in this little neighborhood. Okay, and then the other thing, just to address how many private events about, what are you
Sure.
thinking?
It's hard to put a number on a particular set because it's often related to guests inquiring to book the full restaurant.
Right.
I would want to chat with the team about any stipulation. I wanted to just address one other note, which was a great point about announcing the culinary team or style of menu for a restaurant. Because of course, we understand that at any presentation, we want to show the best of what we have and what we offer. I was joined by our CEO, Luigi Commendatore, on the call as well. Because of the timing of this restaurant, we wouldn't have hired a chef de cuisine or know who will operate that kitchen. And our menu development tends to happen a season before a restaurant opens, maybe 2 seasons if there's a bit of a range, but we wouldn't have been prepared to offer a menu or pricing or that kind of thing at this stage, typically.
Will it be Italian, American? Do you have any idea about that? Like,
I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Donna, we have a couple of questions at this end.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Katie.
Okay, so first of all, I don't think you should use the tin building. I was by there twice today, or once today. It doesn't have any houses nearby, and that's what we're worried about. So, and last time you were here, I have in the notes that you said that you might have up to 24 private parties a year. That was what you said.
Sure, I can address that. I think what that was a simple math exercise that when someone had said, I think they suggested, would it be 2, more than 2, looking to understand which, if we could forecast the number of private events, it's a complicated thing for us as business operators to understand as well, because it's based on demand. And I think that number of 24 events was done based on an estimation of 2 events per month. And that's where that number came from. That wasn't forecasted. I didn't intend to forecast that as a number we think we'll have.
We would like a stipulated number. And secondly, I'm not going to vote for this application unless you reduce the hours. I'm sorry, the hours are much too late, and you've heard that from every neighbor, and you don't have to comment. I'm just telling you what I'm going to do. I think Dr. Smith has a question.
Go ahead. I was going to ask you, but I've already asked it about the number of.
Well, no, I said we'll go back to 12 during the week, midnight during the week, and 1 o'clock.
And one is Friday and Saturday?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else from the committee?
Yeah, I just want to bring up the Entwine's hours with how can we board at midnight 7 days a week?
Next door.
So that's actually earlier than what you're proposing. Midnight, 7 days a week.
With our community. Proceeding back to 2009.
I think that does it, everybody? Yep. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, next we are going to hear 93 Greenwich LLC doing business as Chez Stanley, 9395 Greenwich Avenue. Okay, hang on one second. So I think just so Martin, just so you know, this may be a 500-foot place, just.
Well,
go ahead.
Approved conditionally already. Within 500 feet. No, it's up to saying it's conditionally approved. They're not open. That's Donald's point. Well, depends.
They will know the issue by the time they get there. So just give me 1 second, please, to just get the application out. Let's not start the evening this way.
Hi, everybody.
Donald, just give me 1 second because I
Yeah, sure.
put this one down below. Okay. Okay, let's go. 93 Greenwich, Chez Stanley.
Yeah, hi, I'm here with Michael Kelly. Michael is the owner of Chez Stanley. We appeared before you in November of last year on this application at 93 Greenwich Avenue. We negotiated some stipulations which were signed, and that application was approved by the State Liquor Authority, and the license has been issued. During the process of that application, Michael was fortunate to have been offered the adjoining space at 95. That, as far as we can see, was El Condor, and before that was Nourish Kitchen, I think. Is that right?
That's correct.
Licensed since 2013. I think they may have had beer and wine. I'm not sure if they had full liquor or beer and wine. So the plan now is Michael is going to break through the wall between the two spaces and join them and create one single restaurant. The hours will be the same as what has been approved that we've stipulated to with you and approved by the SLA. Same operation, no live music, no DJ, no outdoor space, no promoters, no dancing. Everything will remain the same. The only thing different is that the bar is shrinking slightly. It's going from a little over 13 feet to 9 feet. And the total seat count will be 21 tables and 53 seats, which includes the 4 bar stools. Otherwise, everything else is the same.
Okay, and so there's no patron use of the cellar, there's no operable windows, doors, no. And essentially, from my calculation, what you're doing is adding 19 seats in total. There's 2 more seats outside and I guess 17 inside is being rejuggled. Okay, the coffee shop was cute.
Good neighbors.
Does anybody from the committee have any questions?
I have a couple, yes. So you checked off private parties. Could you give a little bit more about your expectations on that, or?
On occasion.
In the mic.
Yeah, on occasion, we don't anticipate many private parties. We aim to be a neighborhood friendly restaurant, drawing on the people from the neighborhood.
So once a month?
I would say probably less, but again, it is hard to anticipate. I would imagine more around the holidays. It's not part of my business plan.
Okay. And in looking at the cellar plan, how is the business separated from the residential access to the cellar? I see a
Sure.
big door between.
Sure, there's one door that locks from the inside, from our side, that they cannot access unless we leave it unlocked.
And so you can go in there, but it's locked all the time?
That's correct. We can access the residence cellar through our egress corridor in the basement. But they can't access our cellar.
So you keep that locked, so you can't access there. We're more concerned with you actually accessing their space than them accessing.
Right. Well, it's locked from the inside. Yeah, we have no desire to.
So you'll keep it locked at all.
That's correct. Yes, yeah. Yeah. I've been there. I have no desire to go back. Yeah, it's.
Okay, okay. Does anybody else from the committee have anything?
Is the style of cooking going to change? Because obviously you have a real kitchen, like
Now we keep.
much more substantial kitchen.
Well, now we have a type 1 hood, right? And that was a big part of my desire to take over their space. So the menu could expand in terms of scope, but we're just still going to be a tightly curated French bistro inspired neighborhood restaurant.
Great.
And then as far as the outside area
Mhm.
that you included, have you looked at the whatever the street situation is and how it's classified under the new rules? I mean, is that set up
In
going to
terms
fit
of the
within the new rules?
road shed or sidewalks?
The sidewalk,
Sidewalk.
because it seems from what we don't have the finalized rules, but it seems that they have different widths of walkways now that are.
Well, whatever it is, we
Oh.
have to comply with that. Obviously.
So to my understanding, before it was 8 feet of
Yeah,
passage for
They
pedestrians.
may be switching it, so you may or may not be able to have,
Okay, we
just so you know that.
we exceed 8 feet as it is right now. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I measured at 16 or 17 feet from our front door
And when
to Greenwich.
When are you
Avenue.
open?
What's that?
When are you gonna open?
As soon as you guys let me. Yeah, well, the next one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
It's been empty a long time, so it'd be
Yeah.
nice to. Okay, anybody else?
No, I appreciate the diagram.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you.
thank you.
Barry Jones, good
Okay.
architect. Thank you.
That does it. Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm gonna call Sedona. Yeah, Sedona. Club 39 Clarkson. I'll just take one just in case there's something.
Yeah, if you have any, please.
Do we have the steps? Did everybody get do you have extra steps or no? I mean, I have it, but no.
Yeah, I'm gonna have, and let me just,
Okay,
tell you. So
go ahead.
So we're back on this. We were here 2 months ago. For those who may not remember, this is an application for a new private members club license in the building at 39 Clarkson. The plan for the building is to have a full service restaurant on the lower floors, which is an application that you approved and is currently pending before the State Liquor Authority. Floors 3, 4, and 5 are going to be shared workspace. They are not going to be licensed. They are membership, and you can use that as office space. And the 6th floor on the rooftop will be a private members club, applying for a private members club license. It will not be open to the public. It will only be open to the dues-paying members of the Sedona Club and their guests. When we appeared before you in September, there were some residents from the neighborhood, including from, now I'm forgetting the name of the printing house, how can I forget, who had a lot of concerns, and we agreed to put this matter over. Last month, we appeared again. We thought we had an agreement, but it appeared that there was a remaining issue or two. We have since resolved all of those issues with the printing house. A credit to my client. I think this is some of the most detailed stipulations, and I'm going to give them to you in just 1 second, that I've ever seen, particularly protecting the residents of the printing house against any sound transmission from our indoor and our outdoor space. And a credit to Ben Callos, who is here representing Printing House. We have spent many, many hours, many drafts on this stipulation. And as I said, my client has agreed to many things that are not typical. Not only did we get our own sound study, we contributed $6,000 to the printing house for them to get their own independent sound study. The positive result is that it appears as though the respective sound engineers have agreed upon the soundproofing measures, and those have all been implemented or written into the stipulation. So let me give you these. They're very extensive. I don't think you would want me to read these into the record, but I can summarize generally some of these for you. If you would like.
They're in the Google Drive as well.
And in return for, or as part of this agreement, is that the printing house has agreed to support the application subject to these stipulations. The first set on the first on the what's really the second page are fairly standard, what we call boilerplate stipulations that you typically find in the form that you use regarding no dancing, no DJs, no live music. No boozy brunches, no bottle service other than bottles of wine, agreeing to appear before you in case we want to do any alterations. The next group of stipulations pertain to the maximum occupancy of the 6th floor and of the rooftop. They confirm that there will be no sidewalk seating, there will be no shed seating, confirming that there will be no open doors or open windows. We have a provision limiting the use of televisions. Also, as we indicated when we were here in September, there will be no music on the rooftop at all. That includes not only the outdoor portion, but the indoor portion as well. And that is set forth in this. The hours of operation, I believe, are pretty much what we had represented previously. For the 6th floor, the members club will be open between 9 a.m. and 1 a.m. Monday through Wednesday. until two AM Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and will close at 4 PM on Sunday. Even though the club will open by 9 AM, there'll be no liquor service until 11:30 AM. The hours for the rooftop, the glass covered interior portion of the rooftop would be 9 AM to 9 PM, Monday through Saturday. And that we've negotiated would be from November 1st to March 31st each year, and until 10 PM, Monday to Saturday, from April 1st to October 30th, letting us take advantage in the nicer, warmer weather when it stays lighter later, and also closing at 4 PM on Sunday. The exterior portion of the roof, which will be covered by an awning, of which there are great details in here of what that can be, will be open until 9 PM Monday through Saturday, and will close at 4 PM on Sunday. The page after the hours, I'm not going to go through this in detail, but these include stipulations that have exacting detail about the construction of the covered rooftop, of the awning, and what's referred to as a rooftop protective barrier. So you'll see that those are all in there. We have also agreed to certain stipulations with respect to lighting on the rooftop, providing that there will be ambient downcast lighting. And the provision about reimbursing the condo for this for $6,000 of their sound study, we have agreed to. There'll be no heating or cooling on the rooftop, no smoking.
Inside or outside?
Yes. And sanitation rules. I think the rest of it you can see for yourself. If you have any questions, we can certainly answer them. Just as, well, I think that's all I'd need to add. Is there anything you want to add?
Okay, can I just want to get clarity on one thing first. So this says operation not to begin for the 6th floor, 9 AM. Your other one was 11:30, I believe, originally is what.
Yes, I think that,
So just in
I
terms
think
of when I put
my-
hours down.
I think that the issue was that my client, when we asked him for hours, understood that to be liquor service hours.
Okay,
So that may have been a miscommunication between Parker's office and my office.
okay, so the hours at 9,
Yes.
it are 9 AM. The
Yes.
liquor service is at 11:30 or 11. It's not at 9 on Sundays, though. It's at 10 on Sundays.
Yeah, of
So
course.
that's not.
That's by law anyway, so.
So, and then, there are no cover fees or scheduled performances.
There are no scheduled performances, but if there is programming, and that's.
Right, that's different
If
than
there's programming,
programming.
there will be a time where they may say there's a speaker at 9 o'clock at night, and that's yes.
And the TVs on the 6th floor on the interior, is the sound off on those?
I have to look and see what we agreed to on that.
I said the same level as background music,
Yes.
but I kind of.
So there wouldn't sound,
So
but
we
it won't be turned up.
tend to have sound on those.
Yes.
Normally, I mean, yeah,
Hi, I'm Parker Lieberman. I'm the president of Sedona Club Inc. So the intention is normal operation, those TVs will show sort of general ongoings and happenings within the club, like the programming or other things. If there are other programming where we do want to show a short clip, or there is something happening where that TV will have sound on it.
like used in conjunction with programming? Or
Yeah,
just-
it could be in conjunction with programming. If someone's talking about a short film that they're doing or something like that and wants to show it, then during those times, there could be sound in association with the TVs, but during general operations, it will just be showing sort
With the
of,
sound off.
yeah, with the sound off, sort of static images rotating, things like that.
Okay, and then there's no bar on the rooftop. It's just a service bar, no seated bar.
Correct.
And I think my only other, well, the heating and exhausting elements on the roof, I think that is going to the northwest corner. Does that abut one of the other? I know that's not by Printing House.
Yeah,
So-
that's 110 Leroy, which is a commercial building.
Okay,
We've been in contact with them and we do have sound and site mitigation for those precipitators as well.
okay, and then
And there is, I believe, in the stipulations, there is something about that.
Yeah, there was something,
Yeah.
I just didn't, when I read, I just wanted to make sure the other people where it's going to
Yes.
have been covered as well. And then in here, it says no guests will be seated or allowed to stand between the parapet facing Clarkson Street and the retractable awning. So what is that, like a?
So I believe in there we have, it's a 20-foot distance between the covered portion of the roof and the uncovered portion. I believe we're showing an awning that is 16 feet in length. So there is a 4-foot space between the parapet and the end of the awning. That we're gonna have planters and things like that.
Okay,
So just the stipulation
so that
says, yeah, we can't have people loitering and standing.
Right up to the edge.
Yeah,
Okay.
and generally the idea is that no one's standing about anyways. The service style up there is that you're greeted at a host stand and you are sat at a table and served.
Okay, so, is all this service to seated patrons?
Yes.
On the roof? then?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, okay. All right, I think that's it for my questions. Dr. Smith?
When you were here last time, you might have said it, but can you remind me? I think I might have even asked this question. How did you determine your members?
Yeah, and we've actually done a little bit more work on this since we last talked, so I can share even a bit more. And last time when we talked, one of the things that's sort of core to our club is that it's not driven by a particular industry or a particular type of person. It's really about what are those person's hobbies and interests? Do they have hobbies and interests? Are they driven and thoughtful and tasteful and attributes like that? So there will be a membership application and we will ask general questions about the person's life and interests and hobbies. And we will have a membership committee that will make decisions based on who the person is, both in a written application as well as through meeting the person face to face.
How will you determine that committee who's actually making the decisions about who's going to be a member?
So the initial membership committee will be determined by us. We expect it to be a group of between 10 to 15 individuals that we think will accurately represent who the greater community will be. And so we will choose those first 12 and then that group will aid in making all membership decisions.
But how did you decide? Are you at liberty to say how much the membership is?
Yeah, it's $1,200 a year.
And how was that determined?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that. How is it determined? By a few different factors. We looked at the price of various memberships in the marketplace. We looked at demographics in the neighborhood and, what we talked about last time and still rings very true for us is that we really want the majority of our membership here to be from, local residents. We want it to be West Village, Soho, Tribeca residents. And so understanding who is our neighborhood, what we think is a correct price, and then also understanding what it's going to take us to run this and where we think we can make a profit. So a number of different factors went into it.
Katie?
What if a member wants to have a drink on floors 3, 4, and 5? Can they come to bring a drink down? What if they brought something with them?
So the way to access floors 3, 4, and 5 would be through an elevator bank. And there are host stands at those elevator banks, and our hosts and hostesses will be trained to make sure that people aren't leaving the licensed premise with alcohol.
Thank you.
And that's similar because there is a separate license on the first and second floor. So the same goes for bringing things up.
What is the height of the protective area, the safety area? I don't see the height.
We haven't fully designed it yet, but the idea is that it would come as close as possible to the awning that we are putting in place. We can't, we are not allowed to build a wall there. So what this rooftop protective barrier looks like is a movable planter that has a trellis system, and inside that trellis system is a material called MLV. It's a mass loaded vinyl. It's an opaque mass loaded vinyl. And so the idea is that, it's that material, but
I'm interested in the height of it. For purposes of privacy, things of this.
Right, so the idea in there, and I believe it's stipulated that it comes as close as possible as we're allowed. I'm not an architect, so I'm not exactly sure, but it comes as close as possible to the retractable awning.
And how high is the retractable awning?
I believe the retractable awning is at 12 feet. It will be sloped. It doesn't go straight out, so I believe the place where it is mounted to the enclosure on the roof is at 12 feet, and it will slant down from there out to, I believe, its final length of 16 feet.
Donna, I have one more question. This is a lot to absorb in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But I did just notice because of Bob's question. In the uncovered rooftop section, from the bottom, the retractable awning will not be retracted or otherwise opened in the hours of operation. So
I think what you mean is it won't be closed.
Right.
It won't be retracted in.
Right, exactly. It will remain extended.
maybe you should say removed.
It will be. The intent is that it will be opened.
Right.
It will be extended the whole time.
Right, and I think that's the mutual understanding of both of us in the printing house.
Yeah, it was confusing. Go ahead, Dr.
I
Scott.
just noticed in looking, there are no price points on the food in the menu.
We still haven't determined price points yet. We want to be competitive in the marketplace. But we haven't quite gotten there yet.
What else?
Mm.
What else does the membership get you? What are the other?
So the membership on the six and roof, obviously access is a big piece of it. And the other part is going to be programming. So we're currently actually actively looking for our head of membership. That role will be the person who is in charge of that programming schedule. And a big piece of that is we won't really know the programming until we have our members. We don't really want to be prescriptive onto our members as to what programming is. It's really about us listening to them and what their interests and what they want to hear and bringing stuff in that supports the community for them.
Go ahead.
And my question was, what about the other residents?
Yeah.
So, because you obviously have an agreement with one set of residents.
Yeah.
But we also have correspondence from others.
Yeah, so the other building on our block is 43 Clarkson. There are 6 total residents of that building. We didn't get in touch with all of them, but we had conversations with 2 of them. And we did some additional acoustic setting for one of them that directly abuts our building. And those conversations were really positive.
And that was within the last month or last 2 months?
We did that study, Alan, if you remind me, August 18th was the study at 43 Clarkson.
I think that they said that they complained, they came here previously.
Maybe that date is wrong. Alan, we
Said
went
that was for a
department
different,
together.
that was for a different purpose.
The one, not the one for the townhomes. It was the one specifically when we went into the gentleman's apartment.
Yeah, 43 Clarkson.
Yeah, I think there was a different one because that was previous to, there should be, we didn't submit that.
What was the name of that,
Okay, yeah,
the last name?
we went.
I can find his last
Yeah,
name.
we also went into the residence on April 11th of 2023.
What was the last name?
To the west.
What was the name, the last name?
I'm searching for it right now. I apologize. Sorry, bear with me here for 2
That's
minutes.
okay,
while I switch
take your
to my
time.
email.
I'm trying to see.
I'm having trouble
Yeah.
finding it, but.
Yeah. You just, yeah.
I know, Alan and I spent time with the gentleman. I had a call with him. We were in his apartment.
But I guess that the overarching question is, was there any additional outreach with them since they were the first time and they were, I
Yeah,
think a
so,
number of them were here also last month, and I don't believe they're here tonight, so.
yeah, so there was one, the first time we came in appeared, there was one gentleman from 43 Clarkson who was at that meeting. His specific concern, I apologize for not remembering his name, but his specific concern was the light well that is abutting our building. And he was specifically concerned about sound bouncing up and then down the light well where into his kids' rooms. So Alan conducted an additional study where we played.
So that additional, just for clarity's sake, that additional study was after the September meeting?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Specifically to address his issue, potential issue with the light well. So
because he had said, I believe his wife may have spoken, I could be wrong, maybe it was him, that you had gone into his apartment before and he felt that you'd misrepresented a previous test.
that was at the printing house.
That was
Yeah.
at the printing
Yeah, that was
house.
at the
Okay,
printing
so this is Mr. Pincus then? that you're referring to?
Yes. So we did a acoustical study specifically for Mr. Pincus in his apartment, and in those rooms that the windows open into that light well. And the findings in that study were that there was no noise transmission. And once we did that, we shared that report with Mr. Pincus, and he seemed to have no additional objections. There was one other resident from 43 Clarkson who did reach out. We shared some information over email and have not heard back from him. Okay.
Dr. Smith?
Do you plan to go back to the other neighbors that you have not in that can be on Clarkson to do a sound study with them, or what you plan to neighbors? Then you said you were able to get two of them.
Yeah, we've been able to get in touch with 2 of the 6. We tried to get in touch with them. I believe Mr. Pincus shared information as well as the other resident that we shared information with, and we haven't heard back from them. All of our sound studies show that there will be no noise transmission, so we don't have any further intent.
The other 4 people.
No, they said they didn't. They didn't reach, they did not. They did not hear back from them. Okay, is that it for the committee? Okay. Public, we have Ben Kalos, attorney for Printing House here.
First and foremost, thank you to the board members. You don't get paid for this, and you are doing this work with incredible detail and listening to the community, and that is incredibly important. I'm Ben Kalos. I'm counsel to the Printing House through Armstrong Teasdale, and the Printing House has been in 3 months of conversations, and with Donald and Ben, who have been excellent to work with, and there was quite a lot of distance to travel. We've had more acoustic studies than I think I've seen before, and we've been able to cover some ground related to not only this, but others. And so the board's primary concerns were noise, privacy, and light. And so there are actually reduced hours on the 6th floor from 2 to 1, which we appreciated. I think the primary concern was having the rooftop with 800 square feet that was completely open. And so we worked through a lot of the zoning resolution and permitted things you can put inside the setback zone. And so we were able to figure out that you were allowed to have an awning, and we're allowed to have the protective barrier. It's technically a transparent fence, which is allowed. So a lot of things were done to try to mitigate this as much as possible. And so I came here on behalf of the board to support it. The copy of the stipulation has been sent out to all 200 owners at the Printing House. It also included an invitation for tonight if people felt it necessary to come. So I'm not sure if there's other members of the public, but I promise you we invited 200 people by email yesterday. And just again, thank you for your patience through all this. And I know that last month we were here, we kept asking to go to the back, but it was so that we could get things resolved.
I mean, it's, look, you got it done, so that's what.
And I think the
request is just to please include the stipulation.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, certainly. And so now, is there anybody else from the public? And then if you could just speak first and then fill out the card second.
Got here late, but I signed.
That's okay.
No, you need to sign a card to speak.
You need to sign, but go ahead and speak.
You did.
Oh, you did.
You
Okay,
need-
hand it to, you need to hand it to us.
So,
Are there more there that are out? Oh, well then, hand me that stack.
Please, thank you.
Okay, Elizabeth.
Yes.
Goff?
Yes.
Okay.
Great,
go right
thank you.
ahead.
Hi, Elizabeth Goff. I've been to meetings before, and I've sent you several emails. Thank you so much for your service to the community. I've lived in CB2 since 2007, first as a renter for many years. I bought my apartment at the printing house, in May of this year. I rented it for several years before purchasing it. And I'm extremely thankful to both the board of the printing house, and also the legal teams on both sides and the Sedona Club. I personally have attended a Zoom that was open to every resident of the printing house with Sedona Club management. But unfortunately, as the proceedings have happened over the last 6 weeks since the last meeting, residents were not included in that. And I live on the 6th floor looking west. My living room and the bar rooftop area are about 30 feet apart. When we Zoomed all together, I showed the whole community, the view, the look, and several mornings this week, there's been workers on the roof walking around, and I can literally hear the murmur of 3 workers talking because it's that close. I mean, it is literally in my living room. And I am, again, so thankful to both sides of this discussion and deliberation and working and moving forward some sort of resolution that the board of my building has supported. But as an owner resident who literally lives 30 feet across from where this bar is going to be, I don't support it at all. And there was no vote, there was no anything. And, this email from our building management came out this morning. And, I kept asking in our Slack channel, what is happening with this meeting? I know it's occurring, it's going on. And this was not something that the residents collectively signed up for. And I just wanted to say that. And I think I love the West Village. I'm a member of a private club in Midtown. I have nothing against private clubs, but I just don't see how this particular thing is benefiting the neighborhood. And as someone who has literally direct sight into the project, I just felt it was really important to come and state my personal opinion here. So thank you again.
So the other meetings that happened were not with everybody, or there were some Zooms? Just clarify what you said in the beginning.
Yeah, there was one Zoom with the Sedona Club leadership, some of whom are at this meeting, and it was open to anyone at the printing house to ask questions, and information was shared. This was after the, I believe, August community board meeting when this was first brought up. And so I haven't been able to attend the last 2 community board meetings. I think September we were tabled,
Right.
and then October I was traveling for business. But
Okay.
so August, after that, it was very contentious. We were at the hospital. There was this Zoom that anyone could participate in, and then it just went offline. It was board to legal. And I find that it's a big building that I live in. I find that it frustrating as well as an owner in my own building, but we can't pay for legal support forever. And I think finding a settlement, an agreement was really important, but I just came to speak as an owner. And again, I literally live 30 feet from the space.
So did you,
Yes, I've sent you a couple of emails. Yeah.
I only see one email, but
I think I sent before the August meeting and then again, when I couldn't attend the meeting in October. There should be 2.
I remember the October.
so did you get the stipulations that, the agreement?
This morning, we
This
got a
morning.
summary
Okay.
of the,
Read this. This is it, right here. I'll show you. Yeah. This is what you
Sure.
should read right here. Okay. It's the lawyer that represents the building, but you're a member of the condo, okay?
Yeah,
He's
no, no,
actually
I
representing everyone's interest, including yours.
completely understand. That's why I said I felt that it was important to come speak.
Okay.
Because I'm a resident owner, my next door neighbor is on both sides.
You need to clarify whether you are in agreement with this or not, and if you're not, what else is it that you're looking for? That's what we're trying to find out.
Oh, yeah, well, I think that this is
Right.
progress from where we've been. But I don't see the existence of it. What I'm looking for is for the rooftop bar to not exist.
Right, we're making a decision tonight, so you need to read that. Okay, you really do, you need to read it and understand it as it relates to the rooftop. Okay, because we're making the decision tonight that then goes to our full board, so. You really do need to examine it, and if you have questions, you should ask the lawyer,
Yeah, completely understand.
okay?
I'm saying that I'm not happy on if it exists.
So I understand that, but perhaps a conversation can take place with you and the lawyer that is here specific to your concerns. So that at least you understand what is being done, okay? Got it? That's. We'll call this, okay? If you don't understand it, you need to understand it, okay?
Yeah, I understand what's being proposed. I'm just saying that I, as a resident owner, don't agree with it.
You don't agree with it,
Right.
okay, because you would like to see no club there, or you would like to see nothing on the rooftop?
Nothing on the rooftop.
Okay, all right, that's understandable, okay. I just want to make clarification, that's it.
Okay, got it. You don't want anything on the roof?
Yes.
Okay, so I would include the privacy barrier, there's going to be a privacy barrier so that you can't see them, and then the barrier is supposed to be soundproofed as well. And then we're closing at 9 o'clock.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I understand sound studies and various things have been done, but I've lived in New York for 16 years and noise travels very.
I understand two people working on the rooftop 30 feet over your window is going to be noise. I can see. But
Talking.
when it's all said and done, there's going to be a barrier there that's designed to prevent noise from people talking until 9 p.m. And then they're not supposed to be there after 9 p.m. So the lights go out. There's no music up there after 9 p.m. And on Sunday, I think it's 4. So, okay. All right. I don't want to be hash everything, but I just want to make sure you understood.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just exercising my opinion as a community member.
Yeah, no, good, thank you. No.
And I
One
think
second,
just,
second.
you spoke very eloquently before about this, and one of the things that you'd said is that you had specifically purchased this because of the changes that were happening towards the residential, et cetera, right? And that you made a commitment, you said that.
Yeah, in the August meeting, I
Right.
had spoke about when I
You had
rented the
just-
apartment.
Like,
Then I bought it. I had looked into, it was the commercial building, was kind of measuring my risk, but it's not just about me. There's people I know, my neighbors on both sides. I bought my apartment from a woman in her 70s that's owned it since the 90s, Melissa Dent. She's emailed, she couldn't make it tonight. She came to the last meeting, wasn't able to speak. She's an artist practicing in her loft. The light, the quiet, the sound, is all important. And I feel like I did, my research and came to speak about how I
I
feel. So,
remember.
thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I think the committee's good. Anybody else have anything? Okay, I think we're good. Thank you.
You're good?
Yeah. that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Huh?
We'll have to do anything with Al. Yeah, I think that's it. No, I think that's it. Okay. Okay, so. Huh? Okay. Al, did you have, we're gonna go out of order here for 1 second. Did you have something you wanted to
Yeah.
say? Okay, so we're just, how do I do this with like new business? Yep, we're just gonna break for some new business so that there are people here this time when you speak.
All right, cut me off if I get verbose.
Yeah, try to keep it, just do the short version
All right,
and speak
So-
into the microphone. it angles down.
Yeah. Okay, all right. So I went to Councilman Holden's office in Maspeth, Queens. He's one of the sponsors of this Intro 160. I went there on Friday.
And just for clarity, the intro 160 is,
It's the bill designed by essentially the New York Nightlife Association to give a free pass to any business to make as much music as they want, anywhere, anytime. And the only way that we'd be able to stop them is if they made enough mid-range noise, which is not the problem. And then, only then would they be able to get a violation. So, and we know that bass is the main problem. So I gave a demonstration to the councilman, which I think was pretty persuasive. I showed them a number of things. I mean, I have many issues with the noise code, but this particular one, what they're planning on doing would make things worse. So I'm going to give you guys just a summary of some of the complaints that I have about the noise code.
Yep.
Were you able to get through to them? When you presented to the.
Oh, yeah, he said, I don't want to make this, I don't want to create one problem, many problems while trying to solve another. And he had a legitimate point, because these businesses are getting violations by these vigilante, what they call vigilante. He did listen to me. He spent an hour listening to me.
okay.
With his chief of staff and him in his office. I gave him a little graphic about at that.
Sure.
Because there's 4 conditions here. You got people who make noise and you got businesses who make noise. Okay, you got people who make noise, you got businesses who make noise. You got people who receive noise and you got businesses that receive noise. There's 4 conditions. And you should, to be fair, you have to deal with all of them. His bill not only hurts people, but it hurts surrounding businesses. If the community board has an office on the storefront and right next door there's a loud bar and it comes through, the way they were planning on making the bill, you would have no protection against that. So that's because they didn't differentiate between noise going outside, which of course is a problem, and noise going inside, upstairs, downstairs, back. So I pointed that out.
Restaurants next to each other and like that.
So what they did was they modified Intro 160 and they sent it to me last night. So they've gone halfway in the right direction. The problem is if they don't go all the way in the right direction, it's not going to make things much better. It could make, in a sense, certain things worse. So I have emailed to some of you and just distributed to whoever I didn't do. I took to 4 people, I think. What really should be added in. And I would really appreciate it. I mean, lawyers called me from today because it's being spread around, which I guess thanks to you, to other community boards, but really has to be dealt with. Now, do you guys know who Arlene Bronzaft is? Dr. Bronzaft? She was the one who did the study back like 40 years ago showing that kids' test scores go down when the noise goes up. She's a PhD. She really knows, and she's pushed for the noise code for many years. She's part of a Quiet Noise New York coalition. And she says, look, and I agree with her, the whole noise code needs to be revamped. The last time it was done was 2005. And when I was working with Bob Bookman on that was 18 years ago, right? And now, and the subwoofer issue, because you were talking about subwoofers in one of the previous cases, subwoofers are really prevalent. When they figured out the frequencies that subwoofers would deal with, that was in 1992. So we're talking 31 years of proliferation of subwoofers, and no change has been made in the noise code to take that into account. And I demonstrated for Councilman Holden some of the frequencies that are simply not covered by the noise code that music is produced with these subwoofers. So I don't want to take too much more of your time. You guys heard about this police fatally shoots suspect involved in Brooklyn double murder. He came at them with a knife after they went after him. It all stemmed from a noise complaint. All right. So here.
So this marked up for 160-8 marked up.
Please use the microphone.
And I put a thing on a little sort of a policy position on my website, but here it is.
Good. Okay.
So this is Intro 160-8 document marked up.
Marked up, yeah.
That's
the red stuff. The red stuff is what I'm saying they got to add in there.
Got it. I'll put this in our drive so
Okay,
everybody
good.
can see it.
What it basically says is, if you're measuring noise from a business, whether it's in a residence or in another business, you can't just measure the mid-range sound, you have to measure the bass too. And the bass, another name for the bass in that marked up thing is the technical term of 31.5 to 500 hertz. That's the way of defining what the bass is. So, okay, any questions, give me a call, or email me, whatever. So thank you very much.
I have a question. Are you, Al, thank you for coming back.
Sure.
Are you asking us to take a further action tonight? Do you? Had a vote, we passed a resolution last time about this, but you're asking, do we need to pass an already? Is that what you're thinking?
I think so, because they've now updated this proposed change, and the last thing in it says this law will take effect immediately. So they're trying to push this through really quickly. So you might want to just spread the word, send another thing.
Your point is that they're getting there, but it's not there.
That's correct. It's very not there.
Okay, so you're still not in support of the bill the way it's written now?
Getting somewhere though.
You're not,
It's
but
getting somewhere.
you're still not in support of it the way it's written. You haven't gotten to
What
it.
they have added in for the first time is that you can measure noise from music in a business. You can measure it in a business, not just in an apartment.
Okay,
Thanks, guys.
thank you
Okay.
very much. Okay, now we're gonna call Parcel 552 Hudson LLC. Tavern Wine, previously unlicensed location. I believe so. This is Parcel, right? That's okay. We're fine. You haven't changed anything since you put it in, right?
Nope. Do that.
That works.
All right, hello everyone, Phil Goodwin, attorney with Pizzetti and Bookman of the Rob Bookman firm, as Mr. Firestein just mentioned. Behind me are Grant Reynolds and Mo. Who are with Parcel 552 Hudson.
So
Great.
Mo,
Yes.
right?
Grant Reynolds is the owner of Parcel, and Mo is a business colleague who helps with Grant's operations.
Okay, but he's not one of the principals. He's not, okay,
He's not.
okay.
Grant is looking for a beer and wine license at 552 Hudson, which is on the corner of Hudson and Perry Street. Grant is a highly accomplished sommelier in New York City. He's worked at places such as the #1 restaurant in the world. He's also been a sommelier for restaurants within this community, Charlie Bird, Pascal Jones. He was listed as Wine and Spirits Best New Sommelier in 2013. He was listed for Forbes 30 Under 30. All that to say, he is a highly successful and brilliant wine mind. He has since taken his wine brand and opened Parcel Wine Bar in the Lower East Side on Division Street. You may be familiar with it. And he is here tonight to expand on that brand to open a second Parcel Wine Bar. This is a quiet space, quiet enough where Grant pictures customers having business meetings in the establishment. Like I said, this is beer and wine only. 43 seats inside only. It's really intended for people to come and choose from a curated and fun selection of wines, have a few small bites, and then go off on their way to perhaps a later dinner or back to their homes. Background music only. We're asking for midnight each night.
As far as outreach goes, not only do grants, receive a bunch of petition signatures, which we included in our packet. But we also reached out to the West Village Residents Association as well as the Perry Street Block Association. He sent emails to both of them. We did not receive a response back.
Okay, background music, no French doors, no operable doors or windows.
No.
Any patron use of the cellar?
No.
This is the tavern, there's no, you just have a food prep? No, there's no kitchen, right?
That's right.
No TVs.
No.
So there's 12 tables and 43 seats.
Correct.
And then what about the rest of it that you have here?
The rest of it
Meaning the 64 seats outside, because that unless I missed it.
64?
It's amazing, isn't it?
14,
20,
20,
36. So I'm just curious, since nobody's taking any outdoor seating applications now, as you know, you can't file for that now. And guidelines aren't out, and a lot of this looks like it's not going to fit in any of the guidelines. And this business, I'm just putting that out there for my calculation. I could be wrong and you could be wrong. So
Right.
let's that be a given. And then and there's no kitchen. I don't know is there a bathroom? I guess there's
Yes, there is a bathroom.
where in the back past the storage area. So there's the one
It's a
bathroom.
customer facing bathroom.
So I just wanna, we have more seating outside than we do inside.
That's right. I just want to say, you mentioned that the guidelines aren't out, but then you said it doesn't fit in the guidelines.
Well, we have no permanent guidelines, so we don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if in my calculations, but I didn't, sit here because I don't have measurements of the sidewalk and I didn't spend my time going out to measure the sidewalk.
So I can give you the measurement.
So give me the measurement of the sidewalk.
Yeah, so the Hudson Street Hudson Street sidewalk is a very wide sidewalk. It's 18 feet.
Mhm.
And hence why there are 14 seats on Hudson Street, 6 tables. So as you'll see in our floor plan, it's a couple against the frontage. It's 4 against the frontage and then 2 set right off of those, still with full 8-foot clearance.
Okay, yeah.
And on the Perry Street side, even at its most narrow point, which you'll see kind of on the bottom right of the diagram, that's a 10-foot clearance. And so the only tables will be up against the frontage.
How wide is the sidewalk on Perry Street?
10 feet. That's what I mean. It's 10 from the frontage to the curb. And so we'll only have small 2 tops up against the frontage to allow for the 8-foot clearance.
Right. So they're serving from that 8-foot clearance. Basically, if nobody puts their feet out, you're lucky if they only take up 2 feet and everybody sits sideways on the tables and puts their feet out. I'm dealing with the reality of what this is. You can do a diagram with the tables, but people don't sit this way. They turn out, they look, their feet are out there. That's another foot. And then you have wait staff coming in.
Right. I understand.
But then the rest of this also has to do with the mobility plan they have in there and how these different sidewalks are rated in that they keep referring to. So it's not just an 8-foot clearance.
Right.
There's the furnishing zone, there's the walk path, and then there's the clearance, which is give or take 8 feet. And then there's the roadway seating. So I'm putting all this out there because I'm just speaking personally for myself, in the spirit of outdoor dining, which is what we used to have when we had sidewalk cafes and everything. You had more seats inside and some amenity seats outside. What you have here is basically the restaurant is outside and your amenity is inside. So you may not have any, I think you said you don't have heaters. So this will be seasonal.
That's right.
So, but seasonal can, so basically your restaurant's outside.
Well,
43 seats inside is still substantial. It's just-
I wonder why you need 64, and is this, I mean, this business model seems to be built on the fact that you have, you know,
It's on a wide side.
percent more seats outside than you do inside.
On a wide sidewalk.
Since location, on a narrow street on the other side where you're putting a roadbed that is very difficult for any cars to even get down.
Well, there already was a roadbed structure on the other side,
Fine.
but it's been removed, and so that
So-
there was no problem on Perry Street with
If
cars.
they're gonna put it back again.
Well, there won't be allowed to be two. It's a no standing zone on the Cafe Kitsune side, so they were told by,
They lose, they were there first and they.
so they were there first, but we were there second. And they're gone now.
I'm done with my questions. Anybody from the committee? Katie?
I'm going to start with the easy ones first. So did I see that you intend to have private parties?
Yes, but probably.
Describe what your vision is for that.
In terms of events and private parties, we have a thing that's called Wine School. It's a pretty straightforward, very educational focused wine tasting that we do once a week currently between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. It's
So
very
that's-
publicly advertised and
That's something that you consider, you're defining as a private party in this
it's
application. That's fine.
Yep.
So once a week. Okay,
potential.
now I don't see any price points. Can you thought what is the price point of the food? You know, what's the average check that you're hoping to get?
I can tell you all of our historical information based on the existing location that we have. And the food ranges, it ranges from small appetizers that are $5 to $25, depending on the ingredients. And our average check average right now is around $65 per person,
Okay, that's very helpful.
including lunch.
That's
You're welcome.
cute.
Yep.
Now, here's the tough one.
Sure.
You know, this diagram that you submitted really isn't very helpful. What we, people come to us with all of the measurements clear, and, you know, this we have to sort of guess at. So this isn't very helpful. So we really need better diagrams in the future. But I'm puzzled by this tapering of the Perry Street sidewalk. It does not look tapering to any degree in the pictures that you have submitted, but it's very steeply tapered in the diagram. But can you explain what about this tapering?
I don't understand tapering.
And the diagram, the sidewalk.
Yes,
Yes,
it's just a corner unit. This tapering is not perfectly to scale. This was not made by an architect. It does, the sidewalk slightly expands as you walk further down Perry Street.
If you had better measurements on it, it would be easier to see. But also, you do not, when people do this wood sidewalk diagrams, it includes all the street furniture. I see a lot of obstructions. I see a tree pit. I see some ballards. I don't think that you actually have that. You don't really have the width of that sidewalk, and so a proper diagram would include all that. So I wouldn't have to switch back and forth between pictures and diagram. And to Donna's point, that narrows the sidewalk even more. Now, Bob is frequently someone to point out that the roadbed dining, when it started, was something for people who were there during the pandemic, and we were helping them stay alive. But this is new to you, and we don't really have any roadbed regulations yet, so it wouldn't seem fair to someone else who's already been there, suffered in that site through the pandemic, for you to come along and get so much roadbed seating. So that's going to be you don't have to respond, because that's just going to, I'm pointing out that's going to be a problem for the committee members.
Understood. I just would like to say that this committee has, even last month, granted outdoor seating to certain applicants, so
Most of those had plans that were there before the pandemic that had sidewalk seating that was approved by DCWP or whichever one it is. So that we haven't really been saying, okay, to new, it's certainly not something that has more seats outside than inside. with no program in place and you can't even apply. I'm just,
Of course, but there's no reason why we can't come to an agreement tonight as sort of as partners.
I mean, we'll see what the committee says. I don't see how anybody can agree to something when you don't have rules to know what you're agreeing to.
Last month. Yeah, for a restaurant. Not a wine bar, for the coffee shop, and it was on hours, and it wasn't this size. This is a monster imposition on the community. Well, this is an outlier. What does a restaurant versus a tavern have to do? 64 people outside. That has nothing to do with the legal category.
It might not have anything to do with the.
We're not for you, but we're willing to make agreements. In this case, we're not. It's pretty
Well,
straightforward. And my point is that you can't say there's no program in place. So it's history of where they worked have some of the worst track records for sound in our community.
We will, just a second, guys.
Grant has a reputation that speaks for himself. He's not an owner of Charlie Bird. He was the sommelier. Is that you can't hold that against him.
Okay, does anybody from the committee have any other questions at this moment? Okay, so let's go to the public. Is this all of it? Okay, Nancy Paisley, you can all just, why don't you just all come up and just line up and just say your name? I think I have all of your speaker cards here and figure out who you want to go first. I don't care who goes first, just go first and say your name.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Augustine Hope from the West Village Residents Association. Apology to Grant, he did email me, but at my personal address, and I when I got back this week, I was on leave. I think there's something amiss at CB2 because it should be West Village Residents address that's on the contact sheet. But maybe we can follow up on that. Even my personal email address, I didn't see it. I think this may be the worst possible time that anybody could apply to open a bar in the West Village. I'm going to repeat it, but I don't think these gentlemen are quite aware of how bad the situation is right now. We have a sea change of our residential community, with everyone's dog, and possibly his dog trainer too, wanting to open a bar in the West Village. And they're pushing out the traditional businesses and traditional dry goods and services businesses who cannot compete on rent with these big businesses looking to open on the roadway, in the street, on the sidewalk. That's one. Two, we have this outdoor dining program, which is highly controversial and is certainly not set, as Donna said. Three, we have a collapse of enforcement. Nobody seems to be abiding by the basic rules that exist. And then four is the issue of noise that the lady from Printing House brought up, is that when you're trying to sleep or eat or work 30 feet away from one of these places, you can't do it. It's a nightmare. We're a tiny community, very small buildings and very small streets. So here we are, somebody trying to open a 64-seat outdoor setup in front of people's homes and underneath people's homes. And I don't think they even talk to anybody in their building, because I happen to know the lady who can't be here tonight is absolutely horrified by the idea of this going on downstairs. So outreach, pretty minimal, I would say. There seems to be a disconnect in their application between what they've written in their application and what they've shown on the diagram in terms of number of seats inside and out. So I think this is half-baked. Totally inappropriate for a location that has never been licensed before. And I don't think it should be licensed now. And I certainly don't think it should be licensed under this situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next?
I'll just go this way. Hi, I'm Loretta Tassati. I live at 114 Perry Street. My husband Gary Onson is here as well, and I'm also representing for some people in my building in the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth floor. Yeah.
And you're at 114?
114, yeah. Which is mid-block. First of all, sidewalks exist so that people can walk on them and roll the strollers down them and walk their dogs. I just want to make that clear. That's why sidewalks exist. This is a very bad location for roadbed seating. Yes, Kitsuni had a roadbed shed. It's gone for a reason. It's gone because fire trucks couldn't get down the street, garbage trucks couldn't get down the streets. Giant Uber SUVs couldn't turn the corner without either hitting a car or hitting the shed. There's a reason it's not there anymore. The same thing is going to happen with the cars that are trying to turn onto Perry Street from Hudson. Your tables, your shed is going to be in the way. It's going to cause traffic pileups. It's going to cause safety issues for the children and the parents and the elderly and everyone who walks through the neighborhood. It's a very bad location for this outdoor seating. I suspect that those 2 tops will turn into 3 tops when it gets crowded. All of those things that are outside. It's also just that much sitting outdoors when there's so much less indoors seems offensive and a land grab. Let me see what else. Indoor space. The math on the seating is confusing to me. I came up with a different number. I came up with 77. So maybe there's some clarity that could be put forward on that. If you're going to, it's a very noisy space. There was a Pure Bar fitness bar there in that space, in the space next door. It was loud. We could hear it mid-block, half block away. It was cacophonous. It ran up into the building. I know that all those residents had a problem with it. We could hear it. The residents across Hudson Street could hear it on the 3rd and 4th floors. So it's a very noisy building. So in addition to soundproofing the inside, we would be very interested in understanding how you're going to control the noise of all of those outdoor tables, all of those outdoor diners, because there's nothing to block the sound to run down that avenue and up the avenue and down the side streets. So, food service noise, drinks, people drinking alcohol and being louder as they speak. I know I do it myself. So we'd be interested in understanding that. If there are plans for private parties, how will those be handled? How will those be managed? We have situations in the neighborhood now where there are private parties at certain restaurants and those parties spill out into the streets. The participants of those, the guests of those parties really take up the sidewalk. They block everything. They bring in propping with them. They bring in set dressing, set pieces, and those things fall and it becomes a safety issue. What is the management's plan for controlling that along with the sound? Will there be a manager there on duty to make sure that if there is a line of patrons or there are patrons waiting for tables, how is that going to be managed? It's a problem in our neighborhood with lots of people hanging around waiting for tables, noise, sitting under stoops, smoking, all that sort of thing. I think the bathroom is maybe in question. If there are 77, perhaps more seats, how is one bathroom going to support all of those people? Granted, it's a lovely wine bar, or that's what it purports to be. We just want to make sure that it doesn't turn into something like we have with the other restaurants and bars in the neighborhood where everyone's flower bed becomes a toilet. The outdoor seating is defined here is mentioned as it's seasonal only. There could be some definition around what seasonal is. What sort of calendar dates are we talking about? Also, I'm not sure if it is the plan for a dining shed in the roadbed, or is it open tables? Where is all of that furniture going to go when the season is over? Does it get stacked up on the sidewalk and locked to the tree, or like what's the plan for that? Because we see a lot of that in the neighborhood as well. The hours, 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. weekdays is wrong. There are lots and lots of school children in the neighborhood. And as I don't know who that masked man was talking about the sound, but yes, the children perform less well in school when they are kept up by noise. So 12 a.m. is too late. I think that your hours at the hours at Parcel downtown are, I think, at latest 10 p.m. or something like that. That would fall in line with perhaps with the neighborhood. Maybe you open a little earlier, not at 5 o'clock. we weren't aware that there was any outreach to the community, so we just feel like the neighborhood is oversaturated. Please, if the board could consider not accepting this application.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Hi, again, Viana here from 545 Hudson Street. I'm across the way from 552 Hudson Street. I've been dealing with Lake Howe, which is right in front of me. It's been a war for 4 years. We've gotten things done, but it's been really tough. I was just watching these gentlemen while the guy was talking about sound, and I was watching them giggling. They didn't find that interesting at all. I think they're not.
Let's not.
I just think they're not aware of how sound travels and how we in the community have been fighting noise. 552 Hudson Street has 29 restaurants with a liquor license and wine license within 500 feet. Within 200 feet, there are 7 liquor and wine licenses. That corner is the only corner left where elderly people can walk and feel safe, where dogs don't get scared of the drunken people. Dime Square, where his spot is, on Division Street, is a different kind of crowd. It's much more eclectic. It's much more interesting. The crowd in the West Village are fraternity kids between the age of 21 and 28. They're there to drink. They will drink and they will be, that area becomes like a triangle. They wobble from one corner to the other corner, from one restaurant bar to the other restaurant bar, who isn't really a bar. I mean, it's exhausting what all of us, and we're only half of us here, what we have to go through to even have a conversation with restaurant owners. I absolutely disagree with another wine license in that neighborhood. It's enough. Enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next?
Short and sweet. I'm Gary Onson. I live at 114 Perry Street, and most of everything I'm going to say has been repeated.
So you'll say it quickly, yeah.
It'll be quick. 94 total seats. That's what I counted, and 30 and 64 outside is what I got. In one bathroom. It's never been licensed before. Sets a bad precedent. You missed the fire hydrant and the drain along with the shrubbery and the bollards. It's an issue. I learned a new term, indoor amenity. I didn't know had been reversed like that. Twice as many seats outside as inside, and with private parties. Is it really private? That's about it.
Thank you.
All right, Nancy Paisley again, and thank you. Since I'm the last here, I think I can go through a lot by just saying that I agree with everything everybody from the community has said before. We have here, I think it's no offense to the credentials of the applicant to say this is a bar. A bar. People come to a bar to drink. They may not come to drink hard liquor, but they come to drink wine and possibly quite a lot of it with minimal food. And it gets loud. This space has never been licensed, and it's got many more seats outside than inside on a quiet street in a residential area. Wants to be open on the sidewalk till midnight. What is wrong with this picture? This is something that I would respectfully urge the committee to recommend denial. This should not be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay.
Right, can I take a moment to address as much of that as I can? All right, there's a lot just said right now, and I'd like to thank you all for your comments. I'll do my best to address as much as I can. First and foremost, about the outreach. We feel that we did a lot of outreach here to the point where our outreach to the block associations wasn't even responded to. So
to say that we do not do sufficient outreach would be a knock on us that I don't feel is fair. It's also unfair to speak for people who are not here tonight. Someone mentioned, sidewalks existing for a certain purpose, to walk dogs, to have strollers, etc. Not only do sidewalks exist for a purpose, but rules exist for a purpose as well. And there are rules for the outdoor dining for sidewalk cafes that will be in place in order to ensure that strollers and dogs and children can walk on those sidewalks properly with enough space. And we, of course, promise to be compliant with those rules. Must be. The question was raised about where furniture goes when it gets cold outside. The new law that was passed, although as we know, the rules are not published yet, they will be included. Furniture must be put away, must be removed completely from the premises. And can come back out in the spring. I believe it's November to April. So all the furniture will have to be what we're calling temporary and removable. Again, we will be compliant with those rules. Someone mentioned that we were giggling about Mr. Firestein's application. I was not, of course, giggling at that. I was laughing because it's my law firm that he mentioned. So we were involved in that very much so. We take it very seriously. As far as Mr. Reynolds' location on the East Village, their stipulations on midnight. So to say that they close earlier, I know it's a different community board, but just for the record, they have midnight there. I do want to add that this place will be soundproofed. There's sound planning on the ceilings. It's part of the lease that it needs to be soundproofed, and Grant is taking steps to make sure it is. The last couple of points here. This is wine and beer only. This is not liquor. This is not a dive bar. This is not a sports bar and nightclub. This is wine only that closes at midnight. As far as tame methods of operation go, this is certainly on the more tame side. We've come before you for much less tame applications. The last thing I'll add, which couples off of the beer and wine thing, is that this is not a 500-foot case. We are here before we can try to work something out with you, and we are, of course, willing to work something out with you.
Okay, great. That's a good lead in. So do you want to consider getting rid of the road bed and closing the outside at 10 o'clock like we usually ask people to do?
The outside at 10 o'clock. We can't get rid of that altogether.
No. Okay. I'm done.
Yeah, I was going to say, your firm's not a friend to the community, and not a friend to the community. And, I think we can laugh at your guys' testimony at that hearing as well. And I just speak for myself on that, but you guys were advocating to change the sound code so it would hurt residents.
This is irrelevant for our application tonight.
You addressed it, not me.
Okay, well, let's write
it up. So I'm just going to tell you, in this specifically, in this case, the issue is all these outdoor seats. You're not wrong about the inside, it's the outside. It's too many. So, and the road beds are too much for the community.
You say that,
the seating, our local council members voted against this. This is not supported in the community. It's not supported by our elected officials. The outdoor dining, which your firm was involved with, was predominantly those changes are to help the outer boroughs, not our oversaturated neighborhoods.
First, I'd like to say it is when you say that our firm is not a friend of the community. We've been working with you guys for many, many years now.
You're representing people, but your testimony that the firm has made is not friendly to the community.
Anyways,
but I just go to the point that this huge amount of outdoor seating is also the issue. That's what everybody is saying.
Carter, hang on.
So, if this were just an inside wine bar, it'd be totally different I think people might accept some of your representations, but the outside is the problem. And this is adding to what we already have heard over and over every month about Hudson Street and all of the outdoor. dining.
Especially at that
So-
corner. One, just one.
Considering gas lines, sewage, fire hydrants, et cetera. I know, I'm just saying that the plan that was presented is within.
I'll just give them a minute. I mean,
Okay.
what?
You could,
Yeah, because I think unless I'm screwed up.
If we cut the roadbed seating to 14, so it aligned with the sidewalk seating.
I want, no.
So roadbed seating.
You can always come back to us, but what I'm asking you, if you want us to think about this now, I think that we would like the roadbed removed to think about this now. You don't even have a way to apply for this now. So, you know, I'm telling you, I mean, if somebody on this committee thinks differently, please speak up now, but that's what I'm saying. For us to consider this now, I'd like to have that with that outdoor seating, have the roadbed go.
And I was gonna say, this is consistent with the board's position, and it's consistent with our comments to DOT. It's consistent with everything that's when you have other situations, they align with the board's position on this, which is not yet.
But how is it consistent if you're okay with the sidewalk seating, but not the roadbed? We're all in the same program.
They're not the same program. They're two different programs, right? The sidewalk and the roadbed. They're a different.
Under DOT's new law. That's my.
Against it. Well, it's against it. We're gonna vote on it again at our full board meeting this month. We're against it. We have positions on roadbed dining on side streets.
Right, but the law has already been passed, Carter.
It hasn't been. The rules and regulations are not completed.
Sure, but the law got passed. There will be sidewalk and roadbed seating.
But that's that. So what? We have a position. Chairman Bradley,
Understood.
Chairman very specifically said, these create just as much of an impact as a regular on-premise liquor license.
That chairman is no longer with the state.
That may be.
Fine, but our
So what?
committee board has
The
to.
point is the acknowledgement of the impact.
Understood. Thank you.
I mean, that's very straightforward, but there's an impact of so many seats outside. Like I said, more seats outside than the majority of restaurants in our community board have inside.
Okay.
That's right. If you're not willing to have the roadbed seating, I mean,
Even cutting it, just to let's be clear on that, cutting it, the 14 out, you still have 50 seats outside and 43 inside. I mean, I'm not saying it's not just a numbers game here because we do have a position against the roadbeds, but you still have a tremendous amount of seating outside.
no, it was my offer was 14, 14, 14. So which adds up to 42 if my math is correct.
Where are the other 14?
14 sidewalk, 14 sidewalk, 14 roadbed.
Couldn't we get an accurate diagram of the sidewalk?
I mean, I'm just gonna say, that's gonna all be covered with the rules. And then I mean, when they come to it, it's like the old DCPW thing. It will just be what it's going to be. But I mean, we have a position about the roadbed. So if you need to keep that
Understood.
roadbed in there, I mean, I appreciate the 10 o'clock because that's also what we have a position on as well in this varies, but in this area, that's what we have. But the roadbed is.
Understood.
Especially when I mean, we don't have rules and you don't have a way to apply for it right now. So like I said, you can, nothing stops anybody from coming back. Our stipulations say people will come back for permanent. So that's up to you. Do you guys want to talk about it and then I can call you back?
I think we can try to settle this right now. If we were to remove the roadbed entirely from the application, we just wouldn't want a stipulation in there that says the applicant will never apply for roadbed seating. It would be the applicant will not apply for roadbed seating without first coming back. Excuse me.
But yeah, guys.
It would be a stipulation that says the applicant will not apply for roadbed seating without first coming before this committee.
And 10 PM.
At 10 PM outside.
And we have to discuss it at our committee, but I mean, yeah,
Okay.
okay. Do we, well, okay. Can one person come up and speak?
Without taking a survey of my friends and colleagues, I would say we would be opposed to anything outside here, roadbed or sidewalk. If it was entirely inside, that might be, I can't speak for other people, a different question.
Got it.
Bob, I have some.
Yeah, one more, come on. What? Go ahead. Okay. Nancy, please, can we? Sorry.
Is it completely out of our power when they want to reapply for, when they want to apply for roadway seating when the new rules take effect?
Thank you.
It's out of our power.
No.
I mean, meaning every restaurant can have a roadway, right? So it'll be out of our power.
The service of alcohol is not. We've been told that the liquor authority will be friendly to the community and perhaps decline.
Yeah, guys.
Thank you.
No,
Chair has told us.
you want to repeat what you said, because they can't hear you.
I said
down
that
there.
the liquor authority understands the imposition of outdoor dining, and they had indicated that they are very sensitive to that and may make different rulings, even if somebody can have outdoor seating, that it may prohibit the service of alcohol in outdoor seating. And that was shared with the by the chair of the liquor authority.
Okay, I think that does it. Thank you. All right, I believe the last one is Super Rich New York Corp., 266th Avenue. This is an on-premise for a restaurant. Yeah, should pass, I think. Well, this is a little different. Although.
Yeah, please, thank you.
Yeah. Which. I took pictures coming down.
All righty. Just for the record, again, my name is Phil Bowen. I'm an attorney with Kozletsky and Bookman. Behind me are people. We go by. I'll let them say their full names. It's the names that you see on the paperwork. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Pranut Udompanit. You can call me Pim.
Pim, okay.
Hi. Hi, my name is Supala Podipak. You can call me Anne. Thank you.
So and the team of female owners are looking to open a Thai restaurant over at 266th Avenue. As you just mentioned, the previous Da Silvano space, an extremely storied space that had a restaurant there for over 40 years, and then another restaurant quickly in between then and now. Their hours are 11:30 to midnight each night, recorded music only. I'll skip to the brass tacks here because I know everyone wants to talk about the outdoor dining. As you know, this space has an abnormally large sidewalk. There is a lot of history of sidewalk seating at this space. Every applicants are looking to do is match what's been there in the past and match what our community has right next door. For the outdoor seating, even though we're a much bigger place than Park City. We're looking to have the same number of seats as Park City. As far as outreach goes, they reached out to the Bleecker Area Merchants and Residents Association, the Bleecker Street Co-op Board, and the Greenwich Village Block Association. They did not hear back from any one of those. They also received a bunch of petition signatures, which were included in the packet. So, of course, I'm happy to answer questions about sidewalk seating and any other questions you may have.
Okay, so the hours are 11:30 to 12 a.m., 7 days a week.
That's right.
Background music.
Mhm.
Any patron use of the cellar
No,
and this, any operable. There are operable.
there are
Right,
operating doors.
and when you close those at 9, that's, I believe, what the previous stipulation was. It may not be what they did, but.
The operable windows in front. Are you okay closing those by 9?
Yeah.
Yes, that's fine.
Why don't you pick up the mic? And then. What else? Operable windows, okay, background music. And the sidewalk isn't gonna be enclosed.
No, there's an awning, just like Bar Pity has.
Have you walked by Bar Pity to see what Bar Pity has done in the past 3 days?
No, not in the last 3 days.
Yeah.
You don't think it? Well, whatever they have to show me, we are not Bar Pity.
We will not do that.
Thank you.
No enclosure.
Okay, thank you.
That's not gonna last past once the rules and regs are done.
It even's lasting now, since it just
built.
it was just built. This
DOD will, I'm sure, get eyes on it soon.
Okay, I think that's it with my question.
Yeah, would you guys consider closing the outside space at 10 during the week and 11 on the weekends? Yes, yeah. The other issue is the 200-foot hearing, even though you have declaratory ruling twice, was based on false information that was submitted by your former director of licensing at your firm. There's a certificate of occupancy for the corner building, which has been a school since 1970. That declaratory ruling is not something that I mean, the past material statements that it's based on, the underlying information. The members of the state already voted on it, and so we have, it's because they didn't have all the information. And it was not effective. We can't say what information they had or did not have.
You didn't watch the hearing?
Oh, I watched.
So did I.
I think that we'll include that in our resolution that, I mean, it's for whatever it is, but nevertheless, it's based on false information that was originally submitted by Ms. Ruiz to the liquor authority with respect to the corner building. I understand that. I watched the video, and the corner building was, I mean, it's New York City Department of Buildings has issued certificate of occupancy. All I can speak to is what the members of the authority have moved on, which is that this space is grandfathered for the 205. Yeah, but it's based on false information that you. So, thank you.
It actually shows that.
Yes.
Before that.
I mean, it's difficult when people lie,
That's all.
and that's.
We're
No,
not saying it.
we're not saying it was,
We're
I
not
just want to
saying
be clear on that.
Your premise that you submitted to them is based on false.
Understood. Thank you.
FYI.
Thank you. Not for the record, I'm not saying I agree with you. but
Not
thank
for
you.
you. Somebody that may come after
It
you.
would be nice to
Okay.
have not two Italian restaurants next to each other.
Yes, we think the tie will be a great change of place.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Katie, wait, sorry, Katie, I'm sorry.
Okay, and I have a couple questions. One is about private parties. What's your thinking about that? You said they were going to be allowed. What's the plan?
There will never be full buyouts of the space.
No full buyout.
Okay, that's fine. And the kitchen is in the basement, correct?
That's right.
So the food has to be brought upstairs. Well, is there access to the residential building in the basement? How is this separated?
Good question, Katie.
It's restricted access for the restaurants only.
So there's no,
There's no residential access to the cellar.
What about the door over here?
yeah, there's a,
There might be an emergency door.
I'll just say any doors that lead to the residential
locked.
cellar will be locked.
Yes.
Thank you. You good? Okay, good, thank you.
But now.
Okay, are we, can I ask what you're back there, are you? there- Okay, emotional support, okay, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing some application that I didn't have, okay, great. Okay, you want to just take a 2-minute break or something? All right, great.
Thank you, Donna.
Anybody have any new business first? No, we good? New business? No? Yep.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good luck. I look forward to having a good Thai restaurant it's a little far away from me, but not that far. It's a 17-minute walk, so.
Something else. Place where you was able to affect supported over and over again. Additional. Because the base is not better enough. Okay. It's only the ones we see guys. Also nothing else. Okay, you gotta walk around building every place for financial. You gotta. That's why I'm going to see council. We told me. They don't have to do that. But what he said, that law is already done. And when they get out. That. We're taking now, he can take out all. How about social media? How did that? I haven't worked. It's a pretty big deal. The hospitality line, equally as strongly on the other side, and we are ready to testify.
I think I understand why you haven't with that.
Yeah, you say it harms the community, but it also harms the small businesses in the community when you try to keep this small. When you guys advocate for removal of all the side. So that's all on the now facade. We now have residential or outdoor seating right there, next to somebody. These are huge positions. And the changes were not for our, we had plenty of sidewalk. Everyone else that has a problem, and somehow we get dumped on all these leftover, all the people. Yeah, but they're gonna help them eating and drinking. You're not informing business.
Have a great day. Good job. You don't need these anymore, right? What's that? You don't need these anymore. No.
The first one we did was the Billings. Well, cost they did one that was, and that was, the Kathy, that's the letter. Are we all? Yeah, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 1, 6. Okay. That's one from Flats. I mean, 12 and 1. 50 hours, background music, no live music, no DJ.
You can fit it in so.
You can agree with another level.
Go.
The end one is supposed to be the two reasons. This is precisely what we see if you're actually people Number 3 is return and start on the side.
Shows both there.
Sorry, it is a generic asset. I don't know. But the way that it is proper to us, if somehow restoring entire building to its original 1930s condition. But if you look on these pictures, it's totally different. And this from a planning perspective, very even the facade, and beautiful windows and it's all gone down and the right place, which looks like there's a punch out window on the inside that's there. So, not returning that whole ground for condition, just to the benefit of the owner door. Using that as a basis for it.
Well, you know what, Roger, what's so interesting, on your application, they do not put down what year the building was built. It was built way before the 1930s.
Oh, yeah.
So,
But those are just my answers, it's my concern is for everybody said later time operation, listening, dining operations, but there is a
that's me, that's the that is really like the association with and they basically encompass the year. Yeah. There, so, because they're like, ahead, but. No, but,
in fact, got two spaces, separated, there.
On the more rare.
People coming, going lately, right? Also, think that a lot of it in the past, like, operated Just the other store and everything.
And it's done, 25-year-old, you know, dressing fast, and she doesn't ever go up to the drivers and say, you gotta move along, and, you know, that's not their job, really, I don't think they don't really have a traffic management, realistic traffic management plan.
It is our good.
Yeah, I know, there's some guy. Yeah, I know. But the guy who's in, so, I don't know.
And it might be here, there's something to be down there.
Yeah.
That's the whole.
Yeah. And they just see, and her attitude, and I was on the phone, they did with their community. And the attitude is very much like the way it was when they were here, you know, I first time. It's all fine, or we didn't know, and they said, like, when they said it was gonna have DJs that like music. Well, yes, we go, so I was good tonight here in law, they say, yes, they go with the private parties, John George does that, you know, I checked these two out there in the people, but that's just, so Harris, I mean, he, you know, who knows what other boards put on there, but he's not, but and then 15,000 square feet, I'm sorry, and not this in front of us, but it's connected to the enormous space, all that. What makes it so?
But that enormous space doesn't have a liquor license.
Right, but how are there two parties in there?
You can't turn on the kids.
Yeah, we're just going to follow the Western community with that.
Do they do it there or do it?
Yeah. So, I mean, everything comes down, and you go with them. They said, they have a long-term meeting on the show that.
I'm on street exit.
Right.
You try to measure and then figure out what you can actually get out of your decision. Because where we are today is just a step. Up in the state liquor authority, they'll make the decision. And the reason why you compromise is because they don't know what that decision is going to be. And so we do have influence in that regard. And that, so you're trying to measure what is allowed ultimately. And does it make sense to go along with that now, so that we get all our stipulations in place? But that's it works. Yeah.
But in this particular case too, this restaurant can be picked up somewhere else. Because its entire reasons there, relationship with something else, so you impact larger than just the itself. And
that's why ours is so important.
Yeah.
And because it has a store and what, speaking of, I'm saying this newer model, we're starting to see that we had it come before us where you have this connected space, and then all of a sudden it blows up and there's lines down the block and there's stuff going on. And then there's an event, and then you see a street, you know, activity event related to it, and all of a sudden it's like, what's going on here?
Right.
And
yeah, the rock. I know a lot of them spending my present party. Yeah. Or they have photographs of situations that like they're actually accurate. And like, I just you know, and their attitude reflects that.
yeah, and you know, when we look at this, like, are there parameters that way it's not gonna happen?
We have to, not, if we were to say no to this, we have to say, we're saying no to this because it's connected to X, and X is gonna really bad character. But that's the part we don't have, we don't have.
What we have is a few people saying that, you know, that their line is not continuous. And the black part of the pipeline, I mean,
Zach flies that on his bike all the time, and he said it's like really often, so it's not necessarily big or bad, there's any people in the store, because we go to the store, but they come in the black car and they can walk the bike, like, and then, Lawrence.
What was there before? See, that, I remember distinctly.
No,
No.
this store.
And so, what was there? There was some sort of big event space. There's some.
I'm probably for a window with that.
Some Barbuda service. I'm talking about this
I
spot.
don't remember what it was, but it didn't.
I remember showing the issue that people thought there were all these temporary events at that location.
There. But anyway, you know, I mean, so to me.
So the other issue is like brought up, people also, which is, this is one company, which is Flats LLC. But they're putting forward somebody else as the reason that we should agree with it. That other person could disappear even before the school. And so using that, it's been an issue that's recently come up a few times. And that's sort of the problem is left with whatever the parameters are with somebody who's only sort of event space, not an event space, but some extent to that other space. You know, and it's virtually impossible to get an enforcement like next week, set up a bar and catered an event for a total from across the street. So it's like there's a line down the spot. I mean, these are the things that nobody cares about, but that's an outlier.
It was
here.
It's actually down the block. No, so.
No, this
you
is good.
know that's it. You gotta go around the corner, which is what the problem is.
To get into it.
No, we're all apartment, speaking, Joe had this, it was before the store opened.
Well, this isn't the store, this is back in 2000, that's what I'm telling you, this is 2009. This is. He's thinking of Harvard.
It was the Barbuda space. They were doing all now that they closed a lot. Okay, that's.
With the
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's. I am mixing.
I mean, for class.
What's the?
Well, they told what they wanted their head.
No, outdoor.
I'll give it.
No, they had that head outside and they had, basically, we were looking for that, well, that's why I was, you know, that's why I was so annoyed with the, where am I supposed to be going, what am I not supposed to be going, it's half a good, they don't respond.
Obviously, it's like the head is
Right.
Not that there's something over there, no.
We didn't have a list that.
Yeah, we do, for the that share. And that's at 11, that's why I. Yeah. It would not, so what, let's just see what we, let's just.
10, 11.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you put it in there, it's here.
He would not, rule out network. Well, he also, and he
You
also,
understand what.
yeah, well, and he also would commit to any number. Part of that. Did he say that?
Yes, 24.
Yeah, so you. I don't, that's what he said last time, did he say that this time?
Yes.
Correct.
We did talk about.
I thought you did.
And.
I guess the term is, but then how would they get more trust is down to. You don't trust them, but they method of operation stipulations that is trustworthy in itself. So if you think they're gonna break the stipulations, then.
I guess I'll tell you what my concern is with it, the stipulation, Not hard and the left side. And that because of the association of who goes to the store and where this is located. The impact of that on those people that live right there is what bothers me. And I'm not sure how to fix regulations to fix that, or, you know what I'm saying? And I think, I don't think it's gonna necessarily, I mean, if they're blasting you, they're gonna be right. I'm more concerned.
Here because I don't.
I'm more concerned, so I don't want to work. But then I don't even probably do that, but I'm more concerned, that's my concern. I mean, they have a store that has nobody in it. And people complain about the black cars, honestly, there's nobody in the store. Now, if it's eerie, it's empty, so I don't know how to write.
You can't really control that, but it goes back to the same model.
Yeah.
In and out, and that inherently limits the impact on traffic. And if it's not helpful. It's something that.
Yeah, it's like 2 AM is the problem, because that's not really talking.
And there's also, just to your point. There's private cars that are able to as opposed to meters and less. Versus cars to be eaten by somebody and leave for the house outside. So in what happens, we're having a pretty influx higher level in all of this knowledge.
Restaurant into the high-end Sedona. Private members.
So, I mean.
So if you put it on, let's say it's close to 12, it's there. It's midnight, and during the week. Then they're gonna have. But if you go to one, it's. I still wasn't clear to the last. But I agree with that because the last meeting I was going together is not only sitting down. And that's it. That's the reality. And there are plenty of restaurants that can do it. They don't. They can't staff up. No, they can't staff up and say staff up. Nobody costs. It's consistent with everybody else.
You're denial. I said denial. Okay.
With the current situation.
With, and what is that, midnight, 7 one.
I'm just saying that that's what they agreed to.
Yeah.
You didn't push it any further.
My issue with that though is exactly the process. And just tell you,
okay,
that's what you have. It's just.
What you can do is you can ask them, would you agree to midnight and see what they say. But then we're back and forth. This is really, no, that must be clear. If we gotta get this.
People talk, I really think, all these big groups, we think over to our friends, there's nothing that says to me. Loud when they leave, and loud when they leave. Like, I just don't, I'm trying to like wrap my head around the stipulation ban. They don't do any favors in helping you connect the dots and believe anything. It seems all, like, even when he said they have all these benefits of terrorist treatments. That want us to have all these people, and say, yeah, so it's not the bank heads, it's that all this. I know the bank heads.
The only time, I'm gonna say something, no, when I mentioned the controversial thing, the only time the everyone did brought it is, I was shocked that he had to sit on the stool with no back, very low, and I realized. Upstairs.
Upstairs.
But it was so uncomfortable. I said, oh, so we'll eat fast and leave it. I'll get some more. Yeah. It was so gracious, you know, really. But I think that's part, you know.
So, you know, everybody's saying, you know, I saw this for you. This is comparable to what I did last time, which was this speeding. From this, if they're going off, something that's limiting inside.
But what I'm gonna say to that is, well, for the class, I don't know if the student class hours, they'll always do.
I'm just talking about the land, just to compare. The delay is it's repeated for a reason, and that's more
What is my name of one of those? If there's a black. I think we'll do, not right there.
But if there's always unknown, and we're going to consider it should we consider it with purchases and changes that can come back. We can say it come like years or a year or whatever.
So okay.
I just think close to 9 days and just a restaurant.
Yeah.
And then if they say no,
You say no.
what do you say to that, Dr. Smith? You seem to.
Well, it depends on, you have to first ask to see what they say. If you're best to ask me is what I think for something, and hypothetically, they might.
I don't think anybody was totally comfortable with what they said, including all the residents, everybody.
I know it is.
So I don't, I'm arguing kind of against ourselves.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I want to make sure that we all mitigate this. This is.
All right, so then you deny it, and so when we resolve the deny and say this is what we will be okay with.
But really, we're all being everything like. Yeah. So we're in agreement with everything, but we want the hours to be missed.
Well, are we gonna get those?
Yes, of course, it's ridiculous. Like nobody, if you see any problem.
Yeah, well, I just asked.
All the professionals give us all the smaller speakers with a lot more.
Do you have anything else for this lawyer?
I'm sure, yeah.
Marty?
More, yes, I'm not. So no sub workers, 24. Percent of the month. No, 10 and 11 on the outside, 11 being Friday and Saturday, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. And midnight, 7 days a week on the inside.
And they can come back to us for later hours.
To be in line with.
I'm just saying that you probably want to say something to that extent that we're uncertain about what they're actually going to do.
I don't have to say that.
Fine.
I mean, otherwise, that's like I'm telling.
Yeah, okay. You're right.
You know, we heard issues here about you over all of the program. And so this place, well, when I so.
So we're denying unless these stipulations. Then the next one. Alteration, are we okay with that?
Yeah. I think we should put a word out of this thing, see another nomination store rights. Yeah, just diversity, it's not as simple as small businesses anymore, you're buying them big store ones. For eating and drinking and. Whatever.
But they did say they would keep their
Another restaurant.
diversity, and it was actually, I wasn't gonna even do one of the law, because it was a new coffee shop that was
It's small thing and designed really charming. I'd never been in there for coffee, but it was busy all the time and they had like two out. I mean, it was on a street that doesn't have a lot of people, you know, it's got a bunch of restaurants, but not people kind of run in and just kind of go someplace. It was really.
Otherwise. But they did promise to lock that cellar door.
Yeah, I'll put that in.
Okay.
Great. Okay, then the next one is John.
Well, this is a tragedy that I'm writing about that 200 people.
Gonna be, yeah, no, it's not.
No, they can't be there.
That's the final.
That's fine.
I'm sorry.
That was belonging to, this is, there's stipulations here, so,
Right, so we're denying us with this.
I think so.
Yeah, I
know. This is another, this is a private member's club.
Yeah. I think that the residents just saw. Right, no, I think it's. And I had a feeling that that's how that should go down and they would.
Yeah, she got it.
Because it just kind of how that they were involved. And or like the residents were on. But we're still, the community member, not. Right, but still, what's technically the one thing that bothers me is that they knew enough, they were here last, they were lucky to be here last month. And they look on the calendar and all of that, and none of them are here tonight. And, you know, on the calendar, what's up and posted and everything. And so I 100% agree with what you're saying, but I feel like we would have to show up.
We also, hashed like have a long standing skepticism of private members' clubs because it's going to be non-profits. For their membership and the traditional membership club, like people that are common interest, right? These guys have for-profit business on the ground. They put it into this non-profit. Unfortunately, the liquor authority is not interested in looking into it, even though there are non-profit clubs that are traded on the nearest side. Their ownership structure, which is so nuts. And so it's the bars. It's I think it's the new LeBron.
Okay, so I just want to say, I know that problem. That's what we didn't know. And I think they really great with young people, so I don't think we always know what we need to do.
No, she did buy it.
Yeah. No, I was just saying, I know sometimes we're hard on applicants, but I think it's hard to find. It is.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And I remember the last time. I think Claire said I bought this, like I didn't buy it.
Well, I don't think you felt like she was.
Well, it's because it's a big condo and 90% of the condo's not affected by it.
It's a really interesting basically. That they mentioned it, like the city's trying to do them. So they're encouraging types of payment. Then the flip side, it's in a commercial district. And then you suddenly go the other way and say, we're gonna put this other use, which has such a monster impact on residential, not only putting it in the building. It's not on the ground floor, it's right next to conflicting, and this is with the zoning issues that the city is becoming more and more permissive with what they allow. You see this conflict thing, and it's where it shouldn't be, and then you have exactly what you said, right? That's what Bob was saying, well, they're doing the other stuff, and then Bob would have to say, hey, better to have this deal than not. That even if we said no, it would probably still be approved, right? And we might go more, and that's what the risk is, but it's certainly not something.
I mean, if I was and the graphics being bought, and so much bought, I mean, it's like that looks like a scary copy. She really tried to take her bets on like how much it's gonna be.
There's a corresponding number because they're. Whatever number. Yeah. Or sold for one of those units. And clearly, there's seems to be a very positive relationship with both letters. And this is unfortunate. I mean, and that's the, we'll see this come up with the co-ops at some points.
And neighbors fighting some other neighbors. You really need to look at who's impacted by it the most, and those are the people that have the most.
Good stipulations on there, and I think that if we just deny this, well.
The stipulations will go, so even if somebody else comes in that spot, those stipulations will be solidified. But that 9 PM closing is really good.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, that co-op were decided to negotiate.
Right.
Which they didn't need to. And that's where. I would start to.
I think they paid the $6,000 right there for the sound. For the co-op. The co-op.
The condo did their own. Did their own. Sound study. Okay. So we'll deny less on this one, everybody?
Can you just give it it's well,
I didn't say anything, but I don't know about them. We're very young, never think even about the member that are coming from the community.
You've been through that.
Yeah, we've seen that.
I mean, we're getting so many of them in this.
Remember, Tom needs to come and go there. Tom Connor needs to come. Your audience.
Oh, that was the other thing, right?
Okay, so.
Sorry.
You did great.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Parcel.
No, they have it.
I mean,
I will have. You would go there, right?
5 to 12, 7 days.
If you do that, they probably will accept it.
I don't.
That's why that
I don't have an issue with the inside of the unfortunately. Their line.
But if we deny it, they will
So
probably.
it's 5 to 12, 7 PM outside, no road, sidewalk, sidewalk forms.
And the I think Terry's been good enough. Would it
This much outdoor seating, outdoor seating starts to define the salary.
Right.
And then,
One of the three things. Will require a lot of guidance, sidewalk regulations, and again, no speakers, and they said they had but seasonal heaters, and.
Is there any way we can underline or my questions about Terry's report? I mean, it's reply, but particularly in the Terry's report, I'm very concerned about that. How can we do so wide?
To reduce the number of tables and chairs on chairs.
All they have is one low table.
Well, just reduce it. That we're in agreement there.
So everybody is there. Great service. The area street side, if I remember correctly, says 10 feet wide. that would have precluded them in the past from having out they were dining on Perry Street because also needed a service aisle. So now people can have it all that service function. And that's an issue. I'm not disagreeing with you. You do not have number. The 6 or whatever on that street. That way, so the reason they've got it. If they do this, if you have those people who share along Perry Street on a very good reason. Because you have service, but utilizing the law. This, so we're passing everything. We may not encourage arguing if they want.
This year. Okay. Where they did.
So I think reasonable. Okay, this is strategic decision, I understand.
I mean, I did beer one. I think it's a beer one, and I think if we would say that that's a component, then we have kept putting the stipulation on there that says North America permanent to try to cover.
You don't want to put it. Because
we just.
Okay, they're not in the past, okay.
The outside closing and limited number of tables and chairs on Perry Street. But not on it. But.
And just so everybody knows, the road beds are not going to be sheds, they're not going to I mean, and like I said, we will follow sidewalk cafes, you're gonna be careful, getting caught up with that, that creates issues with ways to carry life of access. There's not. That's what you have to see.
Okay.
Booked outside at 10, done at a Thursday, 11 Friday, and Saturday, mostly conference.
This is the restaurant.
New website, we had a new.
So this is within 200 feet of Lola School.
Oh, yeah.
It was originally on Bleecker Street. Entrance here. Somehow it has to be got a license. And who knows, different time periods. But the school was always in the 1970s in the former building.
Yeah.
And Sixth Avenue. But the entrance was further down. When a building is on both streets, so they're on both streets, you have to take that into account. They, for whatever reason, that was never addressed, and then there was a declaratory one. Determining liquor from the people. That this was not a school. In fact, it was, and it started a series of that they probably right. So that's, I don't appreciate it. It's I mean, just, well, just.
So I have in my resolution as to that. And I know. Is that it? Everyone. Oh, wait, no, we don't. We have all of the ones that started the meeting and what? Oh. Okay, so, you know, the carriage house, the West 14th, can take me to the river, and then all all go St. John, are we all okay with that?
Yeah, so if all the way over to.
Yeah.
No, it'll be, yeah, we're gonna be okay. And then what about Am?
And then, what do I do now?
I put it as a drive. I kind of support.
Right. What do I say?
We want to do an updated resolution like this.
Well, what was it last time? Was it Augusta or was it July? Rather just saying this is what we.
Outdated.
The new information that's been updated for years. Yeah. And it needs further support Al and efforts to further.
I mean, I was a little bit part of it, a little bit personally annoyed that certain people are representing things that are really becoming more and more harmful to the community.
Everything.
And
They all live in Westchester.
You know,
Every lawyer, not super lawyer.
but I mean, this, just the stuff on the noise code or the signing changes consistently on.
Are we done?
By the way.
We're done.